Big up, big up, big up. Welcome to Liverpool Talk Man Show. It is New Year's Day. And the results weren't the results that we were looking for, but all the same, we are here together. Hopefully I don't have any donut on my face, actually. I am obviously pulling one of those nights or one of those days, I guess you call it, where just keeping the magic moving. And I've got my favorite scouser, my scouse in the house, Lee, with me. How you doing?
Yeah, good, mate. Not too bad. Bad performance, but have to grin and bear it.
Yeah. I mean, like, oof. It's difficult to even grin and bear it, to be honest with you. That's the sad reality of it. It's like I would love to be able to say I grin and bear this one, but oh my goodness, it is a rough one to have to take in, especially when you're trying to. I think I got all of 45 minutes before, I got like an hour of sleep, I think, before watching this game. Like I got the power nap in, and I woke up to watch this game. I'm ready for it. I'm just like, let's go, let's do this. New year, new digs, and a little bit more of the same old.
Looking for new
Disappointing.
beginnings.
Yeah.
Didn't really get them today, did we?
No, not at all. Not at all. It was a very, very hard watch, as Eric said. It was. Graham says boring, abysmal, atrocious, diabolical, inept, a disgrace, inexplicable. Jeez, I hear you. Those are some good synonyms. Excuse me. But even got this is that kind of day. Got my matcha latte with no latte in it, apparently. So you have to excuse my voice if it's a little bit harsh. But let's see. I can only imagine what's being spoken on Brian's channel. I'm sure with his open format. I'm sure it is a little bit of a well. Let's not start the explicit, the swear words. We don't get the swear jar started with Lee in the house. So we'll try to keep it profanity free today as best we can. But look, happy New Year's to everyone. I'll start off by saying that. I hope that the new year was kind to you. I hope that it was prosperous. I hope that this new year is prosperous for all of us. And the one that didn't feel like a point gain did it. It's not. That's exactly what this is. This isn't like a point gained. It's more like it felt like 2 points lost or 2 points dropped. We were unable to find a way past a stubborn Leeds today. A Leeds United side that saw the game finish 0-0 at Anfield. And with that, our run of 4 straight wins in all competition comes to a halt. Our unbeaten streak continues, technically, but it wasn't dramatic. It wasn't necessarily chaotic. It wasn't even really controversial today. It was just flat. I mean, that's my assessment. What was your assessment? And you can tell me what you guys are thinking too in the chat, obviously. But I thought today's Liverpool team just looked flat. They just looked
uninspiring would be a good word to sum them up today. Uninspiring. Dispiriting would be another word to use. There wasn't a lot of good in that performance. Maybe the one thing was like at least we kept a clean sheet. It's the one
we almost and you could say we almost didn't, considering you could say we almost didn't, considering that there was that one surprisingly, I don't want to say bonehead version, but surprising version of outlet pass from Ali I don't know what he was thinking on that one. But you know what I'm talking about. The pass he did an outlet pass through his center of the pitch. It went straight to pretty much to a Leeds player. The Leeds player we were fortunate the Leeds player didn't get a really good strike on the ball, and Ali was able to recover and save the ball. But geez, man, it was I don't know what we were doing. Graham Rogers says he would love to know how many backward passes there are on average under Slot compared with under Klopp. That's a very good question. Very good question. Let me see. I don't know if I can. Let me see if I can do this. Let me see. Let me see if I can help you with that as well, because I do have a really good stat comparison. Okay, I know how I'm gonna write it, but tell me what your other thoughts. You know what's sad about it is I usually have that segment where your feel good moment, basically, of the game. Was there even a feel good moment of this game for you?
No,
Mm-hmm.
not in this.
Exactly.
No. It was just a bad performance. Yeah, it was a really bad performance, wasn't it? It was one of those games that you hate watching, like, you know, when it's your side. It just felt like we were never going to score, and we didn't. But, you know, the next game could be different. We could have livened ourselves up potentially for the next game. Just hang on to that. But I think it's looking like they might replace him in the summer.
Yeah. I think that I think you put it best when you said like he's on borrowed time, basically.
Yeah,
Yeah. And he quite must possibly be just that, on borrowed time, because these performances aren't necessarily getting better. That's the sad thing about it. You can't say that. I mean, they're lackluster. There's always something that you're saying. You're trying to really delve deep to find positives out of it. I get that it is something of a decent say to be able to say we've clawed our way back to the top four, that we've gotten in a unbeaten streak, and we've even before this game had riled off, some back-to-back wins. There were still question marks in all of those games, and that's the disappointment of it all. There wasn't ever a thing where you say top to bottom our team looked in sync. It looked like we were it was entertaining football. It was something that you could really say, oh, well, the positives outnumber the negatives going forward. It was always a mixed bag, Do you disagree, or what's your take?
I suppose, Frimpong did play well, didn't he? There's one aspect of it. Like, he's probably the only player that comes out of it with a bit of credit for me. Maybe a couple of the others, but yeah, it just wasn't. What was sad about it was like it looked quite easy for them to shut us out today, and we did contribute towards that ourselves. We made it easy for them at times. But I didn't think they'd shut us out completely today. If you would have told me before the match it was going to be a draw, I would have assumed it would have been a score draw at least. But we made it quite easy for them to be able to shut us out today. Wasn't enough urgency in our play. Whatever other cliches you want to use, like football cliches you want to use, not enough urgency in our play, etc., etc. And that's the long and short of it, really.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to find an answer. Trying to find an answer to the question that was asked by Graham about how many backwards passes we have and everything else. Let's see. I don't think I'm gonna be able to find one currently. I'll do a deep dive on that question, Graham, and try to answer it as best I can for you. but it's troubling. It's very troubling. Let me answer or bring in some of the comments from the chat to include in conversation. It says, Lee says, Gravy needs a week off. Norm says, very slow, fatigue, looking like performance. Look, this is a team that hasn't played in a week, by the way, or something around at least a week, right? We shouldn't look despondent. We shouldn't look haggard. I don't know if they ended up going out for New Year's, but it did not look good. Let's see. Lee Frimpong is rapid in it. Looks like the Flash in it. Retro LC says we are best when we're quick. It's slow at the moment. I think so. I will say, you know what? Pick up to Mark, by the way. Pick up to Mark Simons. Happy New Year to you. What? There were maybe some bright points on this team. I mean, some players that played to a decent decent amount. I saw something that in the route is oh, now I know what you're laughing at, by the way, Lee. Okay, I got you. But there are some things that were relatively positive. It's tough. It's tough because the frustrating part about this is that it was there to win. We had the ball, we had the territory, we had the better players. We just didn't have the edge to get this game over the line. Hugo Ekitike somehow managed to lead Jeremy Frimpong's cross away from the goal for 2 yards out. I mean, I think that was possibly our best chance at scoring. Maybe some might argue Virgil van Dijk's header was the best chance of us scoring, maybe. Again, we need more production out of our set pieces. If this is going to be this kind of year, you know what? We're going to have to play or resort to some of the tactics that we see our oppositions do, and that is get results from set pieces. The streets have arrived, people. The streets have arrived. Shout out to Rasta Crab. Happy New Year to you too. Much love for sure. Does not mean what were you saying? Let's see. Mark says Leeds goal should have counted. We were lucky to get a point, so he's happy. Okay. Is that the one where are you talking about the one where he was marked off sides? Is that the one that you're talking about?
Yeah.
He was definitely off sides. He positioned himself poorly on that one. He was like I think he was like a step off sides. Or like his beginning position. They showed the replay for us. Like he was like his foot. He was like one step in front of his marker. Crab is saying 4 points lost to Leeds is a sacking, in his opinion. That could be true. That could be very, very true.
I'm honest, I'm still sore about the 3-3 with Leeds at Allen Road. Never mind these results. I was hoping for revenge today to get our points, but it didn't happen.
If the chat had to give an answer, where did you see us go wrong today? What was it that we did wrong that resulted in us not finishing with a victory in this game? What was it that we did wrong today? You can single out. I mean, it'd be better if you said it in a team perspective, in my opinion, rather than singling out a individual player. But if you want to say, oh, it was all on the back of this player, or or it was all a result of someone's. It's whatever. You can say however you like. You can produce whatever kind of comment that you want to make. But what was it that we did wrong today that you think was the factor in why we are, as Crab said, in a sunken place? Was there something for you? I see Lee Wiskett says too slow in the build-up. It's a natural progression of what I think has been wrong for this offense from pretty much day one, to be honest with you. I've never been happy about the amount of slow buildup that we have and the lack of players that can necessarily move the ball along, especially at a more dangerous pace.
Do you think we're missing Diaz a bit for that?
Yeah. I
say it.
Mm-hmm. I definitely think we're missing Diaz. You could argue, and I love Cody, I love Asian Cody, but you could argue that we made the possible wrong decision in which individual to keep. If we had to make a decision on the left side, maybe we should have sold Cody instead of Diaz. And we could have incorporated that, but we all know that this coach loves Cody more so than even Diaz. But there have been reports saying that he wanted to keep Diaz. It's just that the brass basically decided against it. So, so that could be the case. Lee is saying Diaz and Nunez. I'll tell you the truth. I agree with this point. What I think, what Lee is saying, and what you're just highlighted off of saying the Diaz point. I think there are those that didn't like Nunez, didn't appreciate what he brought to the team. Fine. There are those that initially, for the most part of his tenure, didn't properly appreciate, in my opinion, Lucho's performances or contribution to the team. And some were neither here nor there, whether he left the team. Some wanted, I remember people were saying we needed to replace Diaz with Gordon, I don't know about that. And I don't think that Diaz, I know that Roster Craft saying that stop with the Diaz thing. He wanted to leave, to be honest. I don't think he wanted to leave. I think it's more so like with any player, you want to be properly compensated. We all know that Diaz is one of the most underpaid talents on our team. I think he was making like something like 50-some thousand a week, or anywhere from between 50 to 60,000.
It was a really good deal we got from Bayern for a player of his age, so you can see why he went ahead with it and sold him. Because it sort of like mitigated a little bit all the money we spent, like going out.
We had to recruit
last season. We had to bring some in, and that was a large chunk of it, wasn't it? The Diaz money, and I was happy about it at the time. I mean, look, I think he did want to leave, so like it's all, it doesn't matter anyway at the end of the day. But it's just the transition from last season. We looked. With him in the false nine last season, people were a bit bored of it after a while, but it got us results, didn't it? One of my favourite games was when we beat Leverkusen at Anfield, and Diaz got a hat-trick. I think that was 4-1, was it? Something?
Yeah, it was. That was one of his best games.
They were in it though, weren't they? Until we went 2-1 up, 3-1 up, it was like level pegging really in terms of play and chances. But it was a good game that, like, when he got the hat-trick.
Yeah. All I'm trying to present with my take, at least, is I think one of the components you could easily connect it to when some might connect it to. Think of when we had Ginny, for instance, and just give me some leeway to land my point. When we had Ginny in the midfield, or we had these players that were these workhorse players. He could even go as far as Henderson in our midfield. Quite often, most of them were like, "Oh, well, there's better talent out there. There's better players, talent level wise, out there than the players that we're utilizing." But they were the heart and engine of our midfield. When it came to our front line, some of the heart and engine of our midfield, rest in peace to Jota. He was a big component of it. Nunez, again, another big component of it. Again, Diaz, an enormously big component of it. The workhorse, the actual workhorse of our front line were players that allow for our more technically gifted players like Mohamed Salah to shine because they were putting in the work. They're putting in the extra tracking back and extra exerting more stamina out there on the pitch than others were. And it doesn't necessarily constitute to be a statistic. You can't say worked hard. The statistic of work hard is, this or that. But but you can say that the amount of intensity, the amount of workload that is presented on the shoulders of those that take our front line is considerably less now than it was with those players in the lineup. And those players, you could say their work and their intensity was a needle mover when it came to us being able to get some progressive performances out of our team. You can tell me what you need to say, but let me hear it. Let me see what I want to hear Lee's take on that, what I just said, but let's see. Lee Whisker is saying Diaz had a verbal agreement with the club, but the club changed the setup, and that agreement meant nothing. Norm is saying he agrees with Wiz. In fact, he liked Diaz, but he felt after what the club did for him and his family, Diaz spat back in our face, in his opinion. Lee Wizkid, we did go over and above for his family. I agree with that. We did absolutely go above and beyond to be there for his family, and that was that was a noble action. Lee is saying he signed a contract with the salary on it. You don't get a divine right to a lucrative extension. I get that too, but so often players play above their contracts and they are going to want to be compensated for those actions. We know that, for instance, people could argue that for some time Mohamed Salah was being underpaid. He eventually got it back. Some could say that we paid him a rate that was compensating for the years he didn't get that salary that was, on par with others that were doing the numbers that he was doing. Let's see. Rasta Crab says, but 12th, you are talking about a different era in terms of coaching. That's a Klopp team of players. You'll have to expand on that, Rasta Crab. What you mean by that? You have to, because the take I'm taking is like, I have an interpretation of what you're saying, but I want to make sure that my interpretation is accurate. If you can just expand on what you're trying to mean by the differences between our coaches. Mark says Leone needs games, and we will be a great player, and he will be a great player, technical with a great long ball pass. Yet Maka plays every game. Yeah. It's something, it's something. The more you see us play, Rasta Crab says this all comes down to our coach, and we all know how that goes. And Norm says the more you see us play and not able to break a low block, why would we not bring back Elliott to at least come on in the last 20 to unlock teams? That is an excellent point, Norm. Why wouldn't we? Because this coach does not believe in Elliott. It seemed like we did not see Elliott at all really in this team, and when he was a part of it at least, and even in that PSG game, I thought that Elliott's inclusion in the game was kind of an afterthought. I think he kind of put Elliott on because there wasn't possibly anyone else to bring on at that moment. He brought on Nunez and Elliott and kind of threw him on and said, hey, just try to see out this game. That's how I felt in that game. Bring back Hettinger. Yeah. I said that too. As soon as he got fired from Ajax, I said that maybe he could bring about as Lee Wisk is saying, bring back a defensive mentality to our team that we're kind of missing, and a little bit more bite to the players that are out there. Ibu is 1 yellow away from suspension. When does that reset? I think that resets pretty soon, doesn't it? Do you know?
It's soonish, like when they have that reset, but he's still subject to it for now, I think, that if he gets booked, you'll miss a game.
Mm-hmm.
I'd have to Google that.
Yeah, I'm gonna Google it right now just to see. Okay, well, we just so what match was this? It's after, so the Premier League yellow card accumulation resets after the first reset is after the 19th match. So I think today was the 19th match. So the count resets to 0 basically for bans. And after that point, the threshold then shifts to 10 yellow cards by the 32nd match. So, yeah. And then finally 15 by the 38th game is where it goes to, just so you know. Yeah, so resets after the 19th match. Let's just do this match review, and then we can go into some player ratings if you like, or maybe even talk about some of the squad depth that we are surely lacking in this game. But I really don't think, like I spoke on earlier, there was a real feel-good moment in this one. Both teams came into this new year in good form. Hylor properly pointed out this team is in the top 5 teams in form-wise, meaning Leeds was in the top form of teams that were playing as of late. Leeds were unbeaten since November. Liverpool are unbeaten since November as well. But Daniel Farke talked about red-hot strikers, and Arne Slot trusted Ekitike again for rightful reasons. He has been one of our few goal scorers this year, consistent goal scorers, pretty much. He got dragged around the pitch by Bioil early on. Verts kept shooting shots at shins, which wasn't that good. He had a couple opportunities they should have made more with. Frimpong put it on the plate like we talked about. Ekitike headed it wide from about 2 yards in. Not wasn't that far off, but it still didn't amount to his goal. Slot emptied the bench. He brought in Verts, or took off Verts, excuse me. Put McAllister on. He brought Kirkes on. He put Cody on, and none of that changed the story. Leeds looked more dangerous late on than we did, to be honest with you, which is another, again, concerning thing. That's a concerning thing to me. Why I brought up the whole calling out other content creators are saying, oh, everything's fine here, we're positive, we're this, we're that. For me, our mentality late in games is night and day difference from what we've come to appreciate this team to be. And again, Okafor and Calvert-Lewin worried us more than our changes worried them. And Liverpool start 26 with a whimper instead of a fireworks style bang. I think, and I know people are trying to make the comparison. I think we can all agree on this. Liverpool are not Chelsea when it comes to management. We can all agree on that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that safe to say? Just making sure.
Mm-hmm.
So the news of Maresca getting fired, which isn't necessarily, I don't really understand it, to be honest with you, why they fired Maresca. I think that Maresca has done some positive things for Chelsea, and I think he is a comparable coach. You know, for instance, would you take Maresca at Liverpool?
Me now.
And why wouldn't you?
Not good enough, basically, for me. Or I don't see it working, put it that way.
Okay.
There's other people I prefer, namely Xabi Alonso, or for Jurgen to come back. I don't think Jurgen will come back, but maybe Xabi Alonso by the end of the season will be forced out of Real Madrid, and we could be waiting with open arms, perhaps. Because we were interested in him, weren't we, before we got Slot? But then we got a no from him, didn't we? And we had to look elsewhere.
Yeah, Lee Wiskett says he wouldn't have him. No way, basically. Retro says plain and simple, no. There's absolutely no way he would take Maresca. Okay, that's just a question. I'm playing devil's advocate. I'm not saying I believe Maresca's a good enough coach or a comparable coach to Liverpool, but he has taken the Chelsea side that has some talented players and gotten some definite progressive improvements out of players. I think Chelsea's kind of in a dark place simply because for some reason Palmer has kind of settled into some concrete shoes that have left him not available or either not able to play to the level that they need him to play at. But in this game, we had 66% possession. We had XG of 1.53 and to their 0.52. And at least that was in the first half. 9 total shots to their 2, 3 on target, 2 their to their 2. 1 big chance created. We spoke on that. But Leeds going into full-time stats, we had 69% possession, 1.96 expected goals to their 0.68. We had total shots. We had 19 total shots. Leeds had 4. 2 of them on net, 4 shots all game to our 19. But the scary thing about that 19 shot stat, can you even guess how many were on target?
2.
You're very close. 4. Very, very close. 4. You can't. That's something you just can't have. We had 8 corners in this game. 8 corners. That one corner, there was one corner that I saw us take, and it was late. It was later in the game, and I think Cody took it, and it didn't even. It didn't. It. All I saw was VVD giving out instructions to the to Eketike, and like he turned, and the kick was already in the air, and I was like, "What are we? We're not even prepared," and the kick it was like a near post kick, so it barely made the near post, and Leeds was quick to dispose of it. It was wild. All right. Well, let's talk about the substitutions that we saw in this game. Then, how about that? Because Slot said before the match that injuries have robbed him of game-changing options off the bench. Is that a cop-out? Excuse me. Is that a cop-out, Lee?
A bit like, but he is without a few players, isn't he?
Big up to Kane, by the way. Welcome. No energy, nothing. No energy, nothing. No press. Was like watching the Sunderland game on repeat. Can understand he's saying that. We can't beat a first man on a corner. I agree with that. That's what just mentioning. Big up to Alexander, by the way. Hello, happy New Year to you. Yeah. I don't know. It sounds like let me pull up our bench for today's game. How about that? So I understand what he's saying, in that there are some big names that are unavailable, but and also those games, those later starting games, Brentford Spurs 0-0 in the 64th minute, Sunderland City 0-0 in the 60th minute. Let me get to this. We had on our bench was Kirkes, McAllister, Cody, Chiesa, Rio. Then we had Marmadashvili, obviously. Calvin Ramsey, the spoken on player yesterday, the player that I said that I think if we were to make a transition in the new year with players, then we would utilize him as a player that would be sacrificed off our roster. We wind him with Lucky and Neoni. Now, out of those names, I think the only two names that weren't necessarily the best of options, obviously Lucky, who's a youth academy player, and then Ramsey, in that order, probably. Ramsey, who has played for us, who has looked good for us, actually. I don't mind Ramsey as a player. I think he's got some skills, and it's unfortunate that we haven't really gotten an opportunity to evaluate those skills properly. But the 5 players he brought in are all 5 good players. They're players that would start, if not play, on teams in this league. So I don't want to hear the whole Slot said before the match that injuries have robbed him of game-changing options. Cody Gakpo could be a game changer if properly utilized. Federico Chiesa has been a game changer when properly utilized. Rio has been a game changer. All these guys, Rio and Chiesa, have both been game changers in games. Even Cody, despite some people's opposition to his play, has been a game changer in games where he's come in and actually played and made a difference in the game. McAllister, a player that is easily recognized as a elite player for some, maybe not for others, but a game changer. Kirkes, again, could with his pace, could be a game changer on the left side. That's 5 players that we had to bring in this game, and still we got lackluster performances. Lee says it's a explicitive team that uses low energy strategy because they are not good. My words, not his, but not good. And they get a result you really don't want to be banging on about. It's embarrassing. We have a £500 million squad. Bad luck should be negated by that. If not, give the money to the kids. I got you. Yeah. We bought a World Cup winner. We bought a £40 million left back. We bought a £55 million attacker, and none of them changed the rhythm today. Not a dig at the individuals. It's a warning about where we are, people. That's what I'm trying to get across. It's a warning. This used to be a Liverpool superpower. For all those that were saying those things before about this team you can't say this isn't Klopp's team at all. This is Arne Slot's team. He has taken the pieces that were Klopp's foundational pieces and exchanged them with the parts that he believes would make the car run faster and more efficient. And currently it is it's a little bit of a clunker. It's a little bit of a clunker. Do you think this is about personnel, Lee, or do you think it's about confidence and rhythm?
Both confidence, rhythm, and personnel. This is more his side now. Like, however much say he had in the players that came in the summer, we have got a different side now to the one from Jurgen's last season. There's still players here, obviously, but this is more his team with his stamp on it. It's just not doing the business. Last season it was a different story, but we can't hang on to that forever. That we won our 20th title, and yeah, we are still champions. That's probably the best thing I could take away from this season, is that we are still champions until May, and we won our 20th league title last May. It's been a write-off, hasn't it, this season so far? I just hope we can rouse ourselves for the Champions League, but even that's looking a stretch at the moment.
Yeah. The only thing I can say positive about the Champions League is that we've seen this coach be more expressive and expansive with the formations and approaches in the Champions League. We've even seen him incorporate the 4-4-2 and the 4-4-2 diamond, and even like occasionally 4-2-2-2, or he's been a little bit more imaginative when it comes to our presence in the Champions League. But now without a significant two-striker approach to the game, I don't know where we go from there as well. I said that we would win the Champions League. That was my prediction. You got to stick with it. You got to stick with it. So I'm going to stick with it. I said that Wirtz would be a difference maker. He wasn't brought here to win us the Premier League. He was brought here to win us the Champions League, in my opinion. Could he win us the Premier League? Absolutely, when he comes into form and the likes. But I just thought his play represented more towards a European style of playing as opposed to an English style of playing. So we'd see more out of him from the Champions League games than we do in the Premier League games. But once he gets his footing in the Premier League, he could certainly massively contribute to that as well as our efforts. But this year, yeah, it's not looking good. Not looking good. Red Goals 5701 says the biggest problem is the lack of tactics. Passing side to side and backwards won't hack it. We use the same passing patterns each game. That's on slot. Yeah. Yeah, so I guess it's not about personnel. It's more about confidence and rhythm, maybe for you guys out there in the chat. I take it. Do you think, Lee? Do you think Slot's being too cautious with the rotation, or does he maybe simply not trust what's behind the first 11, and that's why you're not seeing more progressive, movement of the team?
Do you mean like the young players and that? I mean, he hasn't got too many options. He had the option to bring Cody on today, didn't he? And a couple of others. His main gripe would be that he's lost Isaac now for the foreseeable future. And that is a big deal for us. But we've still got enough good players that we bought anyway, such as Hugo, who's been doing well, Frimpong, Kirkes and Wirtz. These players, we've still got them. Yeah, we're missing Isaac, but that's only one player.
Yeah, the slot football is burning Barry's eyes. Big up, Barry, by the way. Happy New Year to you and yours. Yeah. I don't even I just see it as it's like Slot's version of football is like watching paint dry. That's how sad it is. I use that analogy. It is not something that people sign up for. It's not exciting football. It's not entertaining football. It's not very expressive. Not very imaginative. It is conservative. It is very structured and sometimes regressive rather than progressive. Can't say much. And what I meant by also, is Slot being too cautious with the rotation, or does he simply not trust what's behind the first 11? We saw changes in this team. At the 66th minute, we brought in 3 players. We did a three-man swap at the 66th minute. And then we had Chiesa thrown on at the 79th minute and Rio thrown on at the 84th minute. There were those of us that thought that Rio was going to be utilized more than he's been utilized this year, for instance. Some of us were a little bit more optimistic, I'd say, as to what we would get out of Rio. We saw definitely an emergence from him in the Newcastle game, where he won the game for us, thrown on again as a lifeline for this team. I am not happy. I am not happy with how Slot has utilized most of the rotation, to be honest with you. How are your feelings about that, Lee? Should Liverpool be worried that our depth no longer feels like a weapon?
Well, you could see what he was trying to do at the start of the season, or even if you couldn't see exactly what he was trying to do, you knew he was trying to evolve the team and make us like, even more of a powerhouse like in the Premier League. But it hasn't worked, has it? And we've just got to accept that now, really, at this stage. And I think he's probably still be the manager till the end of the season. So we've got to back him till then. But it would be an interesting one if Xabi Alonso became available and we were able to go back there. I mean, Xabi has also won the league with Wirtz in his team, hasn't he? I wouldn't be into us playing a 3-5-2 though, like under him the way Leverkusen did.
but he has played other variations of his formation.
Yeah.
I can understand what you're saying, but like even in Real, he has taken the Real Madrid team and played with a back four as well.
Now, he really had to win this game today, didn't he, Slot? He needed to win this game. And to be honest, not even like a 1-0 like tight win. He needed to put on a bit of a show today and got nowhere near it, did we?
Right. I agree. Agreed. We know before games how a certain team sets up. It's up to us to find ways to break them down or hurt them. Slot will have to find ways to do this. If he doesn't, we know what happens. Let's hope he can find those ways on the training ground. Xavi plays a 4-3-3 at Madrid. The Lone Sheep says, "What a boring game." Yes, it was a snooze fest. It was something that it looked like our team was kind of sleepwalking through. Jeez. It's do you think that, with the players that are out, for instance, is this maybe just a short-term lull that once we get the players back and get all the components of the team back on, like, we get an ESEC back, which we will most likely during this year. I'm not saying it's going to be immediate, but we will probably get him towards maybe the, stretch run towards the end of the year. We'll get Salah back after the end of January. It's not immediate, but it is a player that will come back. Once we start getting some of these players back, is that what the difference is that we're all waiting on? Is that we got to hope and we can make it there? Or because I think we have the components to make it beyond that, What do you think?
Well, he's actually one big injury now, isn't he? We have got a couple of other players out, like we got Leone and Gomez out injured, but aside from that, we're not missing that many big players, are we? So, I don't know what else he can do with the players he's got available. And do they want to spend more money now in January if they're thinking about replacing them in May? That's another question. We might not spend any money this January. Surely we've got to spend at least a little bit on a centre back though, because we can't leave the centre back thing until May.
Right.
It's too long to go to May with only 2 guys fit and available. Endo will come back and he's an option then. But aside from that, we've only got Gravenberch and Robbo, haven't we, to play centre back? So you would think you would buy someone in January, irrespective of whether Slot's going to be here next season or not.
Red Goals said, if we progress the ball quicker and more daringly in transition, we would score more goals and we wouldn't be thinking as much of who is missing from the squad or who else we need to sign. Spot on, Red Goals. Spot on. Lone Sheep says, no, Slot style of football is just too flat. He prefers control over risk-taking. Again, spot on comment. In my perspective, that's a spot on comment. I believe I agree with that. I think it's just uninspired football that we're watching right now. If you play slowly, they can see what you're doing and get in position for it. You have to move the ball quicker. I agree. All these chats on point with these comments. And Lee says, again, there's no point having elite level players. Norm said, the comment before that was by Lone Sheep too, by the way. Retro LFC said, I don't think the manager staying or going affects recruitment anymore. I agree with that. I don't think that I'll even go one step further. I don't think people were saying, I want to go to Liverpool because Arne Slot is there. That might be a condemning statement. Some might think that's a harsh statement. Some probably might even go at me for saying that statement. But I honestly know, having seen a coach like Klopp, where players have openly asserted that they chose Liverpool not only because of the heritage and the name that Liverpool has behind it, but they wanted to play for a manager like Slot. Dominic Basalai said that. There are other players that have said that statement, basically. So we shall see. I still don't see anything. I'm trying to get Arne Slot's comments in the press conference, and then we can talk about that too. We're about an hour deep into the conversation. We might have a very, very welcome guest to the show, possibly joining us. We might have some of the OG panel on as well. But for right now, you have the dynamic duo here. You have me and Lee. What was that? What was that one? Irene and I think it was called Irene and me, or you, me,
and
Irene.
Me, myself, and Irene.
Yeah, me, myself, and Irene. There you go. That was a weird, but
that was dead funny. That wasn't it?
It was a funny movie. Uh, no Irene here, just me, myself, and Reds. So me, myself, and Tracy, right? There you go. Slot would go to the Italian league. That's his level. That's his style. Slow build up, control, and no risk. Oof. Yeah. Is that how it is? Is that a signature of? Would you say that his style of play is a signature style of the Dutch style? Would you go as far as to say that you see in the Dutch league at least? I would say. Would you say that, Lee?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah. I remember there was an interview with Louis Van Gaal in the summer after Slot had won the league, and he was saying, what type of manager Slot was, and he said he's a process manager. What is it? Yeah, say he does it in stages and all this, like he said, like me, and he said, he put good money on us. Well, they asked him, do you think Liverpool will retain the title? And he said, yeah, it wouldn't be a bad bet. Or words to that effect. It hasn't worked out that way. I was hoping we could defend the title because we haven't done that since I was a little boy. Do you know what I mean? Since I look like this. I haven't seen us defend the bloody title. I've never seen it as a grown man or anything near a grown man.
Excuse me.
21 would have been nice as well to go out on our own with 21 league titles ahead of United.
Yeah. Agreed.
We do that another year.
Yeah, that's basically all we can hope for now. Certainly, that's certainly not going to be the case at the moment for us. 21 does not look like it's in the cards, no matter how this league wants to continue to throw opportunities towards us. This team does not look like they are prepared to take on that endeavor. And yeah, it's just not the case. I do have what the coach said, so I'm going to see if I can't get that together for us, so we can at least comment on what the coach had to say about the team. Red Cole says, well, who do you think that? Okay, so Lee, answer this question, please. Who do you think that is available as a manager would be the best fit for Liverpool? Because he doesn't believe it's Slot. He does not believe Slot is that guy for us. So who do you think, if you had to answer Red Goal's question as honestly?
Safe and easy answer for me would be Xabi Alonso, because I believe we inquired about getting him before we hired Slot. So if we want to backtrack and try the same thing again, maybe he'd be out of favour at Real Madrid in May. And we could have him as manager next season.
Big up. Definitely New Year's blessings to you, Abdul. Big up. It's been a little while, but I hope that you and your family are well, as always, my Red. Big up. Norm says, to be honest here, we started the season playing like this, and we had these injured players available. He doesn't see the injuries to blame for the slow football we are playing. Again, I wish I was a accredited, or at least a journalist that could go to the Liverpool press conference and ask these questions on your behalf, because I think the chat is saying something, and the chat's been respectful with what they've had to say, by the way. Everything I've heard the chat said isn't, calling the guy a bozo, or he's this, he's a donkey, he's that, or what, not being disrespectful. They're being spot on. They're being absolutely spot on with their comments, I think. because there are some concerns with this coach's the way he approaches the game. It's going to be very interesting too, because now I guess you could say there possibly was his scapegoat is no longer here, being what we saw as we had to make a change. We saw that change be made. We had 8 corners today, by the way. Did you see any noticeable difference to our corners? I didn't. Yes, we didn't get scored on. Fantastic. I get that much. I absolutely get that much. What do we have? I think we had like 3 corners to defend here today. But we had 8 corners ourselves to take. And we did little to nothing with those corners, basically. I think we have maybe 1 viable opportunity from those corners. So
the corners were bad today, weren't they?
They were. You know what I'll say too, to Salah's credit, I thought Salah was one of our better corner takers, to be honest with you. Before he left, he started taking corners for us, which was different because normally this was the first year I've ever seen Salah really taking corners for us as a pretty consistent choice, at least on the corners.
Yeah, it is. It is. Since Trent's gone, like we're having like a few different people taking them, aren't we?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let me see. Just trying to get this in to trying to get all of his comments. Aaron Briggs, shout out by Songs 4K. He says Aaron Briggs vindicated. Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. Absolutely, you could say that. He said, "I'm not your fall guy. I'm not your Huckleberry." How about that? Just to those that like the Wild Wild West type situation. We're kind of playing like the Wild Wild West here. I'm not your Huckleberry. Do you want to do player ratings first, or do you want to address what Slot had to say? Which would you prefer to do? Lee, you're here with
That's
me.
what Slot had to say.
Okay, all right. Just make sure. All right. All right. Let's add the layer then. Let's add this layer. Let me bring in, before I add the layer, I'll say what the chat's saying. Songs 4K says, at least we didn't concede a set piece. Leeds are specialists with that. They are definitely good. Slot is prime content. Yeah. Alonso would have a lot of experience with Verts and Frimpong, but he something remains, but it remains to be seen if he is experienced enough in managing a big club successfully. However, he might be great. I think. Okay, but I think it remains to be seen. I got you. Red Goals. That's what Red Goals had to say. Shout out to Oliver. Happy New Year to Oliver. Happy New Year to you, John, as well. Good to see Rio on the bench, even though the sub timing wasn't to be admired. Oliver says. John says he's sick of it. We are awful to watch. And finally, Lone Sheep says the players are being held back by Slot. The ratings don't matter at this point. Okay. Well, let's take a deeper look then. How about that? Let's take a deeper look at what our illustrious coach has had to say on this subject or on our team. And we can add that layer of honesty right now, straight from the players and the manager, because this wasn't just a bad performance. It was a frustrating one for all of us, I believe. Jeremy Frimpong spoke to the cameras, and he didn't hide it after the whistle. He said, it's really frustrating. This is what Frimpong said, at least. Oh, sorry about that. Frimpong said, I have my headphones, and I don't know if you guys, if the settings are the same, but my headphones can pick up my phone. And whenever someone sends you a Happy New Year's, when the text is sent to you, fireworks go off on your phone. So I guess if it's iPhone to iPhone or something. So I keep hearing these fireworks go off in my headphones. I'm sorry. It can be a little bit offsetting when you're trying to keep in touch with what you're talking about. But this is what Jerry Frimpong said, and it wasn't exactly the fireworks we wanted to hear. He says, it's really frustrating. We wanted to win the game. I don't think we created that many chances. They defended well. I think meaning him, should have delivered the ball better. It's all he can say. I don't think that's spin. This is a player who knows he had moments, knows they didn't turn into end products. And that's the theme of this game. Moments without outcomes, possession without penetration, pressure without any type of payoff. I think Frimpong's right. Leeds defended extremely well. They stayed compact. They stayed disciplined. They forced us into the hardest problem in football right now, and that is breaking down a low block with no chaos. We took away Nunez, Captain Chaos, took him off the team. A chaos merchant in Lucho took him off the team. Now we are predictable. Extremely, extremely predictable. I heard the commentators saying something to that tune in the game. They were saying how predictable we were at times. And that's frustrating, right, Lee? Or am I alone in thinking that?
No, you don't want to hear that word like spoken about your own team, do you? Predictable. It's one of the worst things to be in football, is predictable.
Do you agree with what Frimpong had to say? Do you agree that this wasn't about effort, but about execution in key moments, basically? Like the effort.
Yeah, you can say that. You could say that after any game, you don't get a result in, or at key moments, we didn't do this or do that. But it is just a way of saying, look, we tried everything and couldn't do it. So, don't get too upset. But no, it is upsetting, like, when you're predictable. That really stuck in me craw when Ancelotti said that about us after Real won in Paris. He said we were predictable, and we were. It was the first time under Klopp that I'd ever felt that somebody was right in saying that. But, happens to the best of them, even happened to Jurgen. But we were predictable that night in Paris. Yeah, it's not a good thing in general, is it, to be a predictable team? Because, it's on the manager, innit? A lot of it's on the manager. You had it once, but now it's gone.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure that it was properly quoted. According to Ancelotti stated that Liverpool were easier to plan and strategize than the others because they have a very clear identity. He mentioned that Real Madrid's strategy was to not give them spaces behind the defense to run into. And Ancelotti contrasted this with teams like Chelsea, which he described as very difficult to plan against because they change plan style as the game goes on. That does That brings up a question then. I know we've all been speaking about identity, right? And we've been talking about how this team doesn't have an identity, right? Unfortunately, even though it doesn't have an identity, I think that we would like to see it have an identity that is an adjustable identity. A identity that they're going to, the only identity that you want to know is going to be a present is intensity, work effort. Those identities with the team, relentless. Those identities with the team are characteristics you want to say yes. You knew you were going to get that from them, but other aspects of the game should be adaptable, should be changeable, should be something that a coach can adjust. That's why I've said I want to see a 4-4-2 diamond, for instance, but I'm open for it to be a 4-2-3-1 on occasion, depending on our opposition. Also, by the way, shout out to Trudon. He's giving us the finals. So we had three final scores this afternoon, all B, or four draw. We have 4 draws on the day. Crystal Palace and Fulham were a 1-1 draw, and then 0-0 draws to all of the other teams playing today. Sunderland City 0-0, Brentford Spurs 0-0. A very, very lackluster New Year's Day performance. Very lackluster. How that affects the standings. Arsenal are now 4 points clear of Manchester City. Villa are 6 points adrift of Arsenal. And look, I'm not thinking that this team has an opportunity or a chance. I know some were thinking, oh, there's an outside chance. But we look like if you're still saying that we have a chance at the title this year, then you definitely look like the guy in Dumb and Dumber when you're saying, so you're saying there's a chance, right? So you're saying there's a chance. This is very, very unlikely for us to be that team with us sitting now 12 points adrift from Arsenal. 12 points. But I will say this, despite us not getting the win today and only picking up a point, dropping 2 points, I look at it as dropping 2 points. I don't look at it as picking up a point. In this game, dropping 2 points, especially at home. A draw at home is different than a draw abroad or on the road, I think. A draw on the road, that's picking up a point. A draw at home, that's losing 2 points in my perspective. That's how I look at it. You might look at it differently, but I look at it as if you're home, that's dropping 2 points. If you're on the road, that's picking up a point.
Yeah, it's a promoted team as well. We've dropped 2 points at home against one of the promoted sides from the Championship. And it's not the first 2 points we've dropped to them this month, like in the last 4 weeks anyway. It's only been a few weeks since we got a 3-3 at Ellen Rose after going in front, and then going in front again and getting dragged back. It's a bad result all round, shit result. We did have a chance to get 2 points closer to Man City and 2 points closer to Aston Villa, but we blew that now, haven't we?
Yeah. To help solidify our stance in the top 4. And what is really, really problematic, I guess you could say too, is that it still is a case where there are teams in striking distance of us and in that 4th spot. Chelsea are only 3 points behind us. Manchester United are only 3 points behind us. Sunderland, 4 points behind us. Everton, 5 points behind us. And then Brentford, Palace, Fulham, all 6 points behind us in the chase for top 4. I could arguably say that we are better than all the teams I just mentioned. I think we're better than Chelsea. I know they beat us, but I still think we're a better team than Chelsea. I don't know what's going to happen with Chelsea now. They're going to have to bring in a new. They're going to have to bring in a new coach, a new direction, and whether that ends up being a new coach bounce, as they say, or not. That's the case. But Chelsea now are looking for a new coach. They'll have an interim manager, if not a coach, to replace Maresca. Man U, they're a dumpster fire of a club, I think. And I don't I don't know. I don't think Aaron's a bad coach. But I just think Manchester United are a bad team, to be honest with you. Badly constructed team, at least. Sunderland, the surprise of the year, I think, so far. I know they sit only in 7th place, so some might say, oh, you can't necessarily give the early odds on to the Sunderland coach, but he's done a phenomenal job with Sunderland, a newly appointed team, to even be in the top 10, to be honest with you, in striking distance of getting into Europe in the first year of their Premier League run in a long time, at least. David Moyes, Everton, different story. I'll let Scouser talk about Everton. And, Brentford, Crystal Palace, all basically settling into where they probably will end up in the end of the year. There was a time when Crystal Palace was being seen as a Premier League powerhouse. They've kind of sunk into a mid-table team as of late. It makes me question, if they're going to be a mid-level team, do they sell their talent now and try to get some money for Gahey, or are they going to hunker down and lose him in the summertime and possibly get nothing in return for him? It's a big question, I guess. Trudon says City ain't this all-conquering side they once were. They're still way too reliant on Haaland for goals. Songs 4K says we played like a mid-table team in the second half, creating next to nothing. Alexander says he doesn't trust this team. They're inconsistent. We will get top 4, but as a fan, it's brutal. It is brutal. I agree with that. It is a brutal. I'd say it's not summertime, so I can't say it's Bananarama. It's a cruel summer, but it is cruel. It is cruel. I'm trying to think of maybe Norm would say, "Don't be cruel." Maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to think of some other ones, but it is cruel to us to watch this team because we have such high expectations. We got JK in the house. It sounds like JK, you all good, JK?
All good, bro. What are you saying?
Oof, what aren't we saying? I'll tell you this. What I'm not saying, the chat is saying. And again, this is why I love the chat. The chat, at least on this channel. Other channels, I've seen the chat be very, very harsh and ugly and sometimes disrespectful, making a vile conversation, cesspool-style conversation mix. This chat has been nothing but spot on with their comments, to be honest with you. A lot of good, valid assessments of the team, where we're at, the coach, viewpoints on our future. This game was a hard watch. And I think the problem is, again, I said it. You can tell me if you differ, but this team is a hard watch at the moment. And I think that despite the fact that we're still unbeaten, quote unquote, we are just papering over the cracks somewhat and with an inconsistent approach. What's your view?
Hi Norman in the chat. Bro, what are we doing? Like, you're playing Wolves and Leeds United at home. You've scored 2 goals. You've let 1 in. What is that? Like, come on, with Liverpool. Look at the talent on the pitch. You know, we started off well. I think we started off games better now. We sort of started off the Leeds games good energy. Then it sort of faded. You know, second half non-existent, same as the Wolves game. Last season, first half not so great, but second half come out smashing it. So Arnie's team talks at half time ain't doing the trick like they did last season. You know what I mean? So, but it's just, I don't know what it is, man. I don't know why he took Wirtz off. I think Wirtz is the only guy who's sort of ready to do something. You know, he gets in there, whatever. But I think Hugo Ekitike needed Isaac. Because Hugo Ekitike looks tired sometimes, you know what I mean? So, I don't know, man. Look, we ain't lost. Clean sheet at home. But it's bloody Leeds United, bro. They got promoted. We just dropped 2 points there. That's 6 points we've dropped in the last few weeks at home. Come on.
Yeah.
Like, come on. I'm saying I'm ready to play against Fulham myself. I'll take my kit. You know what I mean? I've got the top, the new one and stuff. I'll go and play.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes I look at the game. I'm just saying, sometimes I look at the game and I'm thinking, if I'm on that pitch right there, why would I pass it backwards? I would never even in a million years pass that ball backwards. And our players do that. It's just weird. I'd rather a player makes a mistake trying than a player who just does the bog standard.
Yeah, I was going to say, I said this before this game. Excuse me. I said that despite, us getting a win against the Wolves and us getting a win versus Spurs, which we looked very, very poor towards the end of that game, a nine-man side of Tottenham. Despite us getting a good win, a solid win against Brighton, I'll give you that. A inspired win against Inter before that. It all reverts back to our presence against Leeds as well in that Leeds game. And the sheer fact that this team set up in their low block, the fact that we knew for us to be quote unquote unpredictable, and us knowing that that Leeds were going to be as predictable as ever, that they were going to sit in this low block and basically, allow for us to have our will on the pitch. It makes something of a question mark as to why we weren't better prepared for this game. And what I was trying to allude to earlier was before this game, I said, forget about all the games that we've just had. I get their wins or their draws or whatever we got in those last 6-7 games. I said that these next 3 games should be a real testament as to where this club is with this progression. I know we said, has this team turned the corner, for instance? That question is being offered out by a lot of people. Oh, we won. Has it turned? Is this us turning the corner? Is this us turning the corner? And in all reality, no. These next 3 games, I said, were going to be really important. We were going to have a team that sat in a low block at home that we should have scored against. We're going to have a team on the road in Fulham that is capable of beating us like they did last year. And we're going to have to go to the Emirates with a team that is trying to poise themselves to be the next title winners of this league. That is humongous. Not our game. I mean, those 3 games, we got Barnsley, I think, in the FA Cup. That's not something I'm worried about per se. I can't put that in confident quotations, considering I know what we did against Plymouth, a team we should have beaten. Fortunately for us, the Barnsley game is at Anfield. But that's even more troubling to think that maybe we better not show up like we did against Plymouth at Anfield at home and play to a Barnsley level. But I can't stress that these 3 games are going to be the bell ringer of our season. Where we can expect for this team to go is being connected to, unfortunately, for us, these next 3 games. And coming out with a draw is not a good start. A 0-0 draw. It's not a good start. Not a good start.
Cool. 2 away games in London now.
Mm-hmm.
2 tricky ones. So we needed that win tonight. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But you know what Liverpool like? They're probably going to beat Fulham and Arsenal. Something crazy like that. So if they did that, fair play to them.
Mm-hmm. And again, I don't think it's even. I know people are saying, or at least our coach. One of the comments, JK earlier, was about how our coach mentioned, and our chat's starting to warm up with some of their comments. So I'll bring your comments in 1 second. Our coach earlier, and you can tell me your opinion. Our coach earlier said that it's the lack of depth that gives them real options to choose on this team. What do you feel like? Because I think it's New Year, same problems for Liverpool, and it does nothing to do with our depth.
There's enough players there to choose a winning formula.
Yeah.
There's enough players there. Come on.
Yeah, I think that's a cop-out.
Mm-hmm.
Absolute cop-out. Absolute cop-out. I want to, if anything, I want to hear the coach say, that's on me. Let me tell you what the coach had to say. How about this? And you guys can, Lee, make sure that Lee's with us. He might be making a peanut butter sandwich, but hopefully Lee is still with us, right? He might be making. Yeah, he's making tea and crumpets or something. Right?
Not quite that. It did require me to flush the chain, but I'll say no more
okay.
than that.
That's a little bit, that's TMI. But okay, appreciate that. JK, we're gonna get you and Lee both into this and tell me, and then I'm gonna bring in also the chat's comments. But here's Arnie Slot's comments after the game. I think some of them were revealing. He said, Slot said the simplest thing first. He said a goal. That's the most simple answer. But then he went deeper and he said he talked about how you unlock low blocks. He said through set pieces, through individual moments. He said you have to put overloads in the box. You have to win the ball. Winning the ball high and attacking before the block is set. Oh my goodness. And that's frustrating. Oh my gosh, that's so frustrating to hear. He said his frustration was that Liverpool had the ball, but not the right structure around the ball. He said, when we crossed it, would have been nice if there were more bodies in their box from us, not from them, from us. That's a subtle but huge point. We had possession, but we didn't have presence. We had the ball, but we didn't have the numbers where it mattered. It's not about tactics. It's about timing, maybe more so than tactics. It's about movement failing. It's about anticipation failing. But you know what? The thing that Slot said, and this is where I'm going to bring your comments in, guys. He said, winning the ball high and attacking before the block is set. Now, I saw the chat speak about this consistently with the slow buildup how frustrating it was to watch this team with their build-up play, how frustrating it is to watch our team pass side to side and backwards and side to side rather than have progressive passes. And this amount of time that's like the way that we were, lollygagging around the ball and not being quick and fluid with our movements. And you hear a coach say, the ball high and attacking before the block is set. Well, how do you do that? Quick, precise, and distinctive movement forward. Players running into channels, through balls, passes over the top of the attacking line, putting pace into the game. You put in Kirkes. You say you don't have any options. Kirkes is the option to bring in. He's a fast wing, player that can play on that wing as a wing back. You say we don't have options. Okay, if Cody's not an option for you at left wing, then Rio is certainly a fast and pacey option on the left wing. Utilize that. He brought these players in, but maybe it was too late in the run up. Chiesa, not the fastest player, but definitely brings pace to your team. Utilize him sooner. TK is one of the fastest players in the league. Frimpong is arguably one of the fastest players in the league. I don't want to hear that we don't have pace. That's not an exception. That is not an excuse to me.
That's not an excuse. We've got everything in the team there, bro. Everything's there. When you look at it on paper, it's all there, man. For some reason, why are you taking words off? When you want to try to break a low block, you need to keep the people who can unlock a low block on the pitch. So he takes words off. I don't understand that one. Was he injured? What was it?
I think the only way quick answer for me would have been that I think that Wirtz doesn't have the 90 minutes in him basically yet to be day in, day out for us.
Same as Ekatike.
Yeah, and same as Ekatike. Ekatike's been kind of wavering on that from the very
65, 2070 mark. He always fades.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've been watching that. Well, I would have just put Chiesa into the middle then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because we were lacking Hugo Ekatike. That's why I'm a bit peed off with Isaac getting injured. Isaac in that game, he would have got a couple of goals, I reckon.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So
don't worry, chat. I haven't forgotten your comments to be a part of this conversation. I haven't. I know I hogged the mic there for a little bit, but
I like Helio's comment. To the point, we stink and play boring football, and we're 13 points behind Arsenal. So as simple as that.
Yeah. Whoops. Yeah, agreed. Songs 4K said Rio did change the pattern of attacks, sustaining attacks, dribbling the box, creating shots. Effectively, did what Diaz did last season. Agreed with that one, and those are things are why I'm mentioning what I am. We know that I'm not trying to make Cody a scapegoat, by the way, at all, because Cody didn't get the start either. He got in the 66th minute. This team was set up where we had Dominic Szoboszlai, we had Frimpong and Wirtz as that three that sat behind Ekatike up top. Personally, we had both Jones and Graves sitting in that pivot. I personally would have brought a different presence to this game than the one that we saw.
I would, no.
What I was going to say is I would have kept Frimpong. I would have kept Frimpong on. I would have, rather than take Connor Bradley off, I would have utilized Ramsey. Okay. And I know this sounds weird because you're saying, oh, you're going to take a player with a defensive player. I'm just saying there were times, I think that at some point, Dominic Szoboszlai was playing right back, right, for us again. I just don't want to see you taking one of our most capable midfielders out and pushing them into that back line. I'm just trying to get across. I would have personally presented a different thing. I know it's easier to say that from a as we call it, a Monday night quarterback, which is meaning like, the day after the game, you're able to say, oh, this is what you would have done if it's negative results. But can you not see maybe the logic in doing that? If you're going to take out Bradley, maybe he's not fit enough to go 90 minutes, then fine, putting Ramsey as that coverage. That way you can, and keeping Frimpong, who's one of the few pace merchants on there. Ramsey should be comparable enough to be a defensive player that can handle himself in that back line. Maybe do something where I personally think, rather than what we saw, maybe move Verts a little bit further inside, have Dom and Verts in a place where you have 2 10s, and then have, as you suggested, Chiesa as a false 9, and then bring in Rio also on the left side. You'd have to take out Jones or Grav, but have a sold center half. But we didn't need to pivot today necessarily. We needed more up front to be options.
Yep.
As chaos creators. And Rio could have been that for us, which he was somewhat, but he could have been that more progressively for us earlier. Frimpong could have continued to been that for us. Could take off some of the amount of the weight that we're putting on Ekatike up top, and it could have been a different situation.
I said the same thing as you, exactly what you said there as well, bro. This game today didn't need a 4 in midfield. Play 3 up top. Play Chiesa, Ekatike. Play Chiesa and Ekatike up top. We'd work with a free roll behind them. And you can have the wing. You can have Robertson and Frimpong on the wings anyway. So job done. I would have gone with that look. You know what I mean? I think sometimes Ekatike needs a bit more help. He's on his own up there sometimes. You know what I mean? So 100% today, I wouldn't have gone with that 4 sort of in midfield today. They need it.
Yeah. Sounds okay. Dom was the right back after Rio replaced Frimpong, who looked underpowered at fullback. I agree. He just been running his tail off the entire game in midfield. Now you're sticking him at right back and asking him to change up his approach to the game and be the player formerly known as number 66-esque in that right back role for us. Definitely Happy New Year. Happy New Year. You said hopefully we heard us say that, but we'll say it again to you. Hi, Lord. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Dyer, disjointed and dull. Hilo saw that online about today's game. Dyer, disjointed and dull.
Triple D.
Unconscionably dire, unfathomably disjointed, undeniably dull.
Triple D, you know what I mean? Look.
Yeah, triple D, and you get a triple U with me as well. So there's a bit of
how about what
for you.
How about what Lone Sheep is saying here? He says he sold our depth. We had different types of attackers last season. Diaz and Nunes used to bring that unpredictability that used to have defenders uneasy. Everything is too predictable now.
Spot on. He sold our depth. Look, Harvey Elliott, today's game, sort of game, will just come on and do something. These type of opponents. Perfect.
Yep.
He did it against Leeds. I remember he scored against Leeds. Yeah. Typical. This is what I'm saying about Arne Slot. He's really ripped the soul out the club. So you got Trainioni and all these lads, 3 goalkeepers as subs and shit like that, man. Come on.
Yeah.
So you're trying to tell me that third fucking goalkeeper is going to do more than Harvey Elliott would? Like, come on, man. Common sense,
Yeah.
bro.
Yeah.
You know, like, I've been patient with Arnie and not got on his back and stuff. Because we're not losing, it's a bit more chilled on it. But all in all, Lord of mercy. That's been Nalante as well. Like, come on, man. You're
Hard
dropped
to
6
defend
points.
that display, innit?
Hard. Come on, man. We started off well. The passing was really good. First half, first 15, 20 minutes. The passing hit Jones, Wirtz, bang, bang, bang. I was like, okay, we're slowly cooking here. And the energy was good, bro. But what happens in the second half where we allowed the opposition to actually score today? And if it weren't for his foot just being offside, that would mean a 1-0 to Leeds United today. So they've sort of taken off. We've lost 4 points playing that team twice in the past few weeks.
They're
4
not
points
that
there.
good a team, are they? They've only just been promoted and they're not that good a team. To not be able to get more than 2 points out of 6 against these is a damning
Simple.
indictment of our form and of our season in general.
You know, Sunderland at home, we dropped points there. Like, come on, man. You know,
At least Sunderland
question.
been doing
Okay.
well though. Like Sunderland's have been near the top of the table, like Leeds and that, and some of the others we lost to. Forest, they're right down at the bottom of the table.
Forest as well. So these teams we've allowed at home to get points off us. What is that all about?
Forest game was the worst one to let Sean Dyche come back here like and win 3-0. That was a piss take. That
was a joke. You know, look, come on, Arnie Slot, yeah. But like buying a centre back now, we were talking about the centre back yesterday, weren't we? Yeah, great. He'll come in, great. He ain't gonna make us any better. If you know what I mean.
will give us cover though.
It'll give us cover, but for me, the bigger picture being the energy change and subs. Too much subs. Sub. Let the fucking team play for 75 minutes without making a sub. No one's injured. Keep them on there. Say, listen, get me a fucking goal. You know, it's
at the
too much chopping
moment
changing.
Yeah,
There's no
at
flow
the moment,
because
like it doesn't look like it's within his powers to fix this, does it? Like the wheels fell off and he put them back on, didn't he? But like they're not running smoothly, are they?
it ain't smooth, bro. No.
Started the season with 7 wins out of 7, 5 in the league, 2 cup wins, but we looked shit in each and every game that we won. Then the wheels came off, didn't they? And we started losing all the time, couldn't stop losing. He's put the wheels back on, but like the wagon's not really moving forward, is it? Like the wheels must be square or something, like instead of round.
I'd go as far as to say that I'd say the wheels, slightly different interpretation. I think the wheels have definitely been changed because we had some comparable wheels on our team, being Elliott, Nunez, Diaz, players like that. However, those wheels that we kept on the squad picked up some couple of flats, and thus our team is playing flat at times. I mentioned that comment about, you know what, we've only, I think it was 5 times this year we've scored over 2 goals. 5 times this year we scored over 2 goals.
Yeah. Like, is it Arnie's fault or the players' fault? Well, Jurgen Klopp will get 3, 4, 5 goals out of this team a game, no problem.
Mm-hmm.
You know, people can say, "Oh, don't talk about Klopp." I'm just telling you about the energy he used to get out of the players to score 2, 3, 4, 5 goals. I don't think Klopp gives that energy to the players to say, "Hey, lads, smash the fuck out of this team. They got 3 against us where we should have won that game." Okay, show these boys who the big boys are. What do we do, bruv? Nothing.
It was
There's no team talks like that.
the worst shit start to a new year, footballing wise, that I can remember in a long time. I can't remember a new footballing year beginning so abjectly, if that's the word. It was just piss poor, wasn't it, in every sense?
I think we've scored the less goals as well. I think this is the season where I think we've scored 30 goals, Premier League goals or something. And it's the least we've ever scored in years. We're not scoring goals, bro, now, even. You know,
Yeah,
2
that's
goals in 2 games against Wolves and Leeds at home at Anfield. Come on, man. There's me thinking 4-0, 4-0. 8 goals there.
Yeah.
Get our goal difference back up. There's no talk like this in there. Like, lads, listen. 3 points are going to be done today, no problem. But get me 4 or 5 fucking goals, so get our goal difference up. Is there any chat like this? Like, come on, I'm being serious now, bro. I'll take the Liverpool job tomorrow. And
We've
that's
got a
conversations I'm
man
having.
throwing
taking
his
you
hat
with
in the
me.
ring. JK is throwing his hat in the ring.
I'll take that job, man. I know what to say, what to do. Like, there's no bits about it. We'll be smashing Fulham and Arsenal in the next 2 games. I'm not
There's
training.
one.
I'm not overtraining them as well. Are these guys training too much? That they look battered. Like Hugo Ekitike, bro. I'm saying, listen, I don't want to see you till Saturday. Like, sleep, do something. Because you've got the last 90 minutes on Sunday. And
Don't
against Arsenal.
fancy our chances of scoring at Arsenal if we couldn't score against Leeds at Anfield today.
Bless up, Pops, bro.
Yeah. Happy New Year to you, Pops.
Happy New Year, bro.
To you and your
Happy New
family.
Year, everyone.
The enthusiasm of the setup is what's winding me up, because the setup is the manager's the guy with the keys, and he's the guy who tells the lads, "Hey, I want 4th gear to first half." Not, you know what? Let's keep it first, second gear, see how it goes. That's what I'm getting. You know what I mean? You know what I mean, bro?
Let's give Leeds a chance to get settled in. No. Punch them square in the mouth and keep it moving.
Oh, it was about the 70th, 80th minute, yeah, and I was sitting there thinking, Leeds can nick it, yeah, and we can lose and lose 3 points. And I'm thinking, I'm sick of being in this sort of situation. I don't want to be in this situation with the team no more like that, where I'm thinking Wolves might nick one to get a draw. Come on.
No, wait, 2 bottles of Jim Beam Devil's Cut is a lot. You look like after pick. I look like the after pick on that. Okay. Thanks, Kevin.
Oh no, man. Yeah, definitely there's a space for you on the coaching staff, man. I'm taking Helio as well with his data. And
yeah.
So you can kick their ass.
Yeah.
Badger can beat him up.
Norm can be the scouting squad, you know. Since he goes to all the games.
There you go.
He could be the scout that tells us
you're the new Edwards, bro.
Team.
What's hot and what's not.
Well, he'll get a DM in, you know what I mean? I know that.
Pops will be our PR. He's good at calming the team. He can maybe be
and he can smile.
Yeah, exactly. He's got like a Bobby-esque style smile that makes everyone, you know, feel relaxed and at home. Let's see. Of course, Chris Angel medical team, definitely.
Oh yeah, definitely. He's straight in there. There's a spot for everyone.
There's a spot for everyone. Yeah,
we look after our people. You know what I mean, bro? We make it. Everyone makes it.
Fresh, yeah, exactly. A fresh rebrand.
Hey, no, Ronnie Moran is from round there, and so is Roy Evans. Both of them are from round there. Ronnie Moran even more so to where I live. Yeah.
I'll ask you this. Is there anyone willing to put their hand up to take on the newly vacant position of set piece coach? That is a dangerous. Yeah.
I'm taking it.
You're gonna get in the line.
I always buzzed off Ronnie Moran when I was a little kid because he was like this shouty bald man on our bench, but like he was dead good. I've seen him in Stanley Park, like after the game, and I didn't say to him, but someone who was with me went, "All right, Ronnie." He went, all right, lads, which was nice of him. He must have been going to his car, like, there you go.
What would be more likely for FSU to do, a new coach or a new assistant coach for LFC? Look, I think that they should have brought back Heitinger, to tell you the truth, like it was suggested. As soon as I saw he was dropped by Ajax, I thought that was their opportunity to bring. We were sputtering and cluttering at that moment, and I thought it could have been an opportunity for us to go back to the original plan, the original recipe at least. But I know there were some people that were saying, "Hey, it's a new direction. It's a new assistant coach. Give him time to adjust into the role that he's doing for the team." That's a good question. If it's a good debate as to whether that's worked out for us. Let's see.
I would say a new assistant coach, Chris. That'll be a typical sort of move. Because I'm not sure these guys are gonna really sack this guy yet. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. He did get thrown under the bus. Here's some other comments from Slot, and then we'll get into these ratings because we're already at 2 hours. I was hoping to see one of our Lady Reds join the team or join the panel here, but she had her own forum going on at the time. She went live with her own forum at the time, so maybe we'll get the blessing of including her tomorrow. Along with maybe even Alante. Alante might join us later on, because I know that he has a later shift that his availability is from. So maybe we hear from him later on before we get out of there here.
Best of believers, kid. How you cool, bro?
Yeah, 12. Norm says 12. When we win something on our parade bus, you are the DJ. Okay, I like that idea.
He can say that.
Yeah. Either that or I'll book the DJs. How about that? I'll book the DJs.
Yeah. You book them, bro.
20 is going to become 21 one day. And the day when we hit 21 and we're out on our own, 3 of Man United standing there. They're already in our shadow, but we will be completely out of bounds then if we get 21. And I hope Alex Ferguson is alive and well to see it and enjoy it.
Oh, those fingers crossed. Let me just answer what Slot said real quick so we can finish this segment. I know we got a little bit on a tangent, but Slot said this in his defense of our play today. He said, Slot made these comments, and he said, quote, "To create chances against a low block, you need pace. Individual special moments to create an overload." And that's where, again, this team feels incomplete. We have technicians, we have control players, we have structural, minded players, but not any real true disruptors on the team. Those disruptors are players that were on the bench, in my opinion, players like Rio, players like Chiesa, and we still didn't see what we wanted to see from the team. Oh, I just had a great statistic to include, but let me see if I can find it. I'm sorry. That's not X. I'm going to have to look for it. It was it was because I know that we spoke on someone was speaking about Maresca and the likes of how it is. And it's something, there was a statistic out there that showed that Chelsea have not had a manager for more than 1,000 days stick with the team since Moringa. Which is pretty damning. I can't find that statistic. That sucks. But it was very, very telling. Very, very telling. I can't find it. It was a statistic I was going to say. It hasn't been more than 1,000 days for it, basically. 1,000 days. That's how long. But he said pace is something, and Frimpong, I think, has pace. Ekatike has pace. Burt's has, I wouldn't call it pace, and he's not explosive, but he's able to utilize his football intelligence and talents to create space amongst him.
Yeah, spot on.
But when Liverpool allow for Leeds to drop 11 players, basically which was what they did, park the bus, drop all their players behind the ball. You need someone who can break the symmetry. It's why today, I believe he got, maybe you do something different, like start a Chiesa or start a Rio for that matter, to kind of get a real feel for the game rather than just throwing them into the fire and saying, have at it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, spot on, bro. Today was a perfect opponent, Leeds United. Come on. Perfect game for Rio to say, you know what, lad, have a go. See what you can do. You know, because they won't be prepared for him. They've not known that. They're thinking, okay, we're going to have Wirtz there. Or a Gapco maybe. So Rio would have been a perfect game for Rio at home, where the opponent fans ain't going to go at him. So, yeah. But I think Arnie stops playing the security number, innit? You don't want to risk nothing.
Yeah. He doesn't want to risk anything. I think that's the problem. I know that there's those that didn't like Klopp's very aggressive, if not gambling style approach towards football. He was more I think Klopp, to his credit, was more like Kenny Rogers. He knows when to hold him, knows when to fold him. But this coach does not play with the same approach towards his gamble. He does not play towards the same. Is this statement, when you hear that statement, is that not frustrating to hear from a coach?
Like, his gamble is, I'm going to play slow, okay, and then I'm going to nick one. That's his gamble. One, I'm saving energy, and two, I'm not getting players injured. That's his mindset, bro. Trust me. That's his mindset right there. Where Jurgen Klopp was like, fuck this, put your foot down, win the game, I'll take you all off. If we get 3, 4, 5 goals, whatever. And I'd rather go with the Klopp one.
Yeah, I'd rather go with that perspective on taking. It's. I thought, like, I can't stress this enough. I said that his. I know those are people that definitely were disappointed with the results that we got from Klopp. I know there are those people. I know there's those people that think that Klopp was washed. There's people that have said really, really down and dirty things about Klopp, that I'm not going to want to repeat. I know that there are those that maybe underappreciated what we had gotten from Klopp. But I can tell you this much from Klopp, in my perspective, I was very appreciative in the fact that he, I think, reestablished a foundation, an identity of a club, a fire, a level of intensity that was the bar that our team had to meet each and every time out on the pitch. What could it be exhausting? Yes. Could it be sometimes even maybe not sustainable? That's a debate. But at this level of a club, for what we are going for as a team, meaning I look at it, our mindset should be quad every year. I get that some people might not think that, or think that, we can, that's not possible, or this and that, right? It's never been done. I get that. But I think that we should always set our sights on accomplishing that feat. Now, whether we don't get to that level or not, that's one thing. But it's similar to the term shoot for the moon and you'll still end up amongst the stars. Isn't that, I think that's saying, right? That's why I say shoot for the moon. If the moon is the quad, then that's shooting for the moon. If we only get two trophies, or do a double, or if we get a treble, that's still pretty good. We're still out amongst the stars. I don't want to get
stars. I just noticed in the chat someone mentioned Kenny Everett, and Kenny was from the next street to here. In fact, my very own bedroom there looks out onto Hereford Road. So, yeah, he's from round here, Kenny. Grew up in the next street, Hereford Road. Me nan reckons she knew his mum. Apparently, like, but he was a funny bloke on British telly when I was a kid. Kenny Everett, like, he was hilarious. His show was mad.
Mm-hmm. Sorry. It's a downward spiral. Oh man. Downward spiral. This feels like one win and a loss is better than 2 draws. I agree with that. That is true. That is true. That's why I said today's game was 2 points dropped rather than 1 point rescued or saved. It's 2 points dropped today. See what others comments. Club and slot and man management could be further apart. I agree with that, Kevin. Agree with that. But there's well, we're at 2 hour mark 4 now. Well, that's a second. That's our second draw with Leeds, which is pretty pathetic. That's thoroughly embarrassing. Yes, Pops, I agree. If you're going to tell me that a newly appointed team is going to not only get points at home against us, but points at our home of Anfield, I would say you're surely kidding. Against defending champions. No. That is not acceptable at all. Not one bit. All right. That'll bring us to this conversation. That's going to be a difficult one to get through, but we're going to do it as quickly and as easily as possible. I'll just allow for, rather than all of us have a say on these players, I'll give the player, you give me your assessment, and we'll just move it from there. And we'll go around the you in the chat can play along and give your ratings, but we'll just allow each one of us to go through so we can get through all of these players. Okay. Let's begin with Ali. Player rating, Ali. What were you going to give Ali, Lee? You can be first on the docket here.
Well, he kept a clean sheet. I give him a 7.
7. Okay. All right. Let's move on. All right, Norm. Before I do, let me give the ratings that everyone is giving in the chat. 6 from Retro. Okay. Never gave that clean sheet away too, meaning he didn't. I will agree with that. And this was Ali's 100th Premier League clean sheet, by the way. It was his 100th clean sheet.
Wow.
That's a pretty incredible feat, considering all things considered. All right, let's go to pull up my list here. Let's go to Bradley. Let's start off with Bradley. What would you have given Bradley, JK? What was your rating for Bradley?
7 clean sheet. Did okay.
Oh,
Yeah.
you thought it was okay. Okay. 7. All right, let's see what the chat is saying about Bradley. Difficult to say anyone excelled or was terrible. Bradley and Frimpong were bright. Okay. Very interesting. Very interesting. Shoot, I'm trying to find my ratings. statistically wise, Bradley had the lowest SOFA score on the team, actually, which is pretty interesting. I didn't think Bradley had a good game today, to be honest with you. Bradley was too inconsistent. Bajan Pops gave him a 6. Okay. Let's see. Hyler says he gave every player a 6 except for Frimpong, right? All right. Rio was the only sub to make a positive impact. Okay. All right. Connor Bradley, what did you give him, JK? Sorry, say it one more time.
7. Whoever gets clean sheet gets a 7 for me.
Okay. So then what did I get to rate Ebu? Awesome. Wow. I will say this game was a better performance for Ebu than his initial game against Leeds, but that's not saying much. I don't think he played. I don't think he played exceptionally well, but it wasn't like he wasn't bad. I'll give him a 7.5. I'll give him a 7.5. I don't think he was bad in this game. I gave him a 7.5. 6.8 for Ebu is what Norm is rating him. Okay. If you want to give your rating and give a reason, you can do that too. If you think you're going to get ridiculed or whatever. I'll give him 6.8.
I'll give
Virgil. Wait, Virgil's just you got Virgil. What do you give Virgil?
Can I rate Ibu as well? And I didn't rate Bradley. Bradley, I'll give a 7 to. Ibu, I'll give a 6.5. And Emu, I'll give a 9.9. Because he was never convicted of any wrongdoing in the death of Rod Hull, and I doubt he ever will be. He did, however, do a warts and all tell-all tale for the News of the World about how he suffered in silence for years, having to watch Man U matches because Rod Hull was a Man United fan. But he never did anything wrong. He was not implicated in any way whatsoever for the death of Rod Hull. But he did have to watch Man United matches a lot. And, he wasn't just silent in the corner in a box. No, he had to watch them games, mate. Emu.
I didn't say Bradley was better than Ebu, by the way.
I think defensively we were sound. You know what I mean?
They didn't have much to really contend against defensively. That's why,
bro. They didn't attack.
Yeah. They didn't attack. They didn't do much of anything going forward. I spoke on the stats. I mean, in this game, Leeds had 4 shots. 4. I think of those shots, only 2 or something were on target, I want to say. Mm-hmm. Yeah, 2 shots on target. So out of those, they were 50%, but that number sounds large, but 4 shots, 2 shots on target.
They came for the point, didn't they? So
yeah.
Yeah. Look, this is what I always say in games. As soon as the game kicked off, and I seen the setup 5 at the back, I was like, listen, if you want to play this game until the 95th minute, don't score then. But if you get a goal, okay, that's going to take that 5 in the back, turn it into a 4. And then gradually into a 3 because they can't get anything. And we're scoring goals on counter-attack. Football's a game of chess. And I only don't get it into the players hard enough to say, listen, lads, we're at home, get a goal, quick time. Because these guys got they're parking the bus. Okay? So if you want to get some goals and get our goal difference higher, get a quick goal. First 10 minutes. And that will slowly open the opposition up. So That's why they come in, park in the bus, and they're happy if they leave Anfield with the point, bro. We're champions, and they're left with the point.
Mhm.
So did Sunderland. Oh God.
Mhm. I put that in the chat for you. Hi, Laura, what his name is. Yeah, and this is a team, again, Leeds is a team that didn't bring out the 6 or whatever goal streak he was on. I think he was on a 6-game or 7-game goal streak. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, he was kept out of this game until the 70th minute. Until the 70th minute, he was kept out, and so was Okafor, who was actually Okafor didn't play poorly for them. To tell you, too, he played okay for them.
Yeah, Lucas Perry's the goalie for Leeds. I think, is that Italian? I think he's Italian. Is he or Brazilian? I'm not sure.
Nilante says he didn't need to play both Frimpong and Bradley. I agree with that too.
Well,
I agree with that.
First half it was sort of working because Frimpong was just pegging it down the line. What I wanted him to do anyway. So we didn't really need. We went too defensive today. If you understand, we're at home. We're playing against Leeds United. You know, put on Chiesa. Start with Chiesa and Ekatike up top with the works behind and tell Frimpong and Robertson to bomb down the wings to get balls in the box. Simple tactics, bro. You know, I don't mind that Bradley and Frimpong move. That didn't really bother me. I think on the left-hand side could have been better. But Robertson did a few nice crosses in. Get balls in the box. But for me, I just think Ekatike just looks a bit fatigued. So, hope you're calling Lante as well, bro.
Yeah. Same here. Happy New Year to you, Lante.
Happy New Year.
I think the build-up play is too slow and the likes. Virgil van Dijk was your player that you got that you get the. We're only doing each one of us will have one player to rate. That way we can try to get through this quick and easy. So VVD is Lee's player.
Okay.
Even though he gave ratings for all the players, but the VVD is your player.
And Emu.
What's that?
And Emu. I gave ratings for the Emu.
Yeah, you did.
Got away with murder, that bird.
Okay. What was it? What was it for VVD for you?
It's 7.
Your VVD rating, what was it?
7.
Okay.
Yeah, he was steady for me.
Yeah. 7 solid. I think that's a solid rating. How about we can give a rating and we can when it goes to the panel, we can give it a thumbs up or thumbs down. How about that? I think 7 is a decent score for him. How about for Robbo on the left? I think Robbo played well, to be honest with you. Just like you said, I think he played well going forward. He played controlled. He played like he knew what his purpose was on the pitch. I would have given Robbo a 7 in this game.
Yeah,
6.5 it would have been probably a little harsh if you did that, in my opinion. But 6.5 is what I would have given Robbo. I know we're going in and out of order a little bit but I'll just trying to keep it moving.
Yeah, 7, Robbo. Yeah,
7 I think is fair for Robbo.
Yeah,
especially since we got a clean sheet. Let's move on to. Let's see. Who can we go to? What player are we going to bring up next? That would be. Let's see. Let me see. That would be. Okay. All right. We could do that. We could do gravy. I was looking, and Steve Harvey apparently told me we need to go and move on to Gravenberg. Oh man. In the game was very interesting. I saw Grav and Jones kind of like sometimes playing on the right, sometimes playing on the left. You know, I thought I thought he played well. But what would you have given Grav today? What would you? This one is your assessment, JK. What is?
Mm-hmm. I like Gravenberch the way he played today. I think he was probably one of the brightest out of the midfield. He just looked good. He looked good for me. So I'll give him a
Ryan
7.
did? Ryan Gravenberg? Okay.
Mm-hmm. I think he played
Okay.
well.
Okay. What would you have given him? What would have been your score? For
Well, I'll give him, yeah.
yeah, what do you give him?
Everyone's asking.
I'm going heavy. Yeah, I'm going heavy on the sound effects here, on the soundboard.
I'm gonna give him a 7, bro.
A 7 for Gravy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's see. Grav was too passive in Pops's opinion. Okay. Retro gave Grav a 5. Oof. Okay. By the way, VVD got a 6 from Nolante. Okay. What? Let's see. All right. What was the score you gave him?
7.
7. All right. 7 it is. 7 it is for. Okay. All right. So let's move on to Curtis Jones.
She gave me him instead.
Yeah. That's on you. Gravy got a 5 also from Nolante. Got you.
Mm-hmm.
And Hylor is still saying that no one deserves a 7 today. That's what he is saying.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Who's got Jones?
Mm-hmm. Lads, this is Leeds. We were 1 offside away from Somerville nightmare. Absolutely trash. Anyone other than AB1 should get a 0.5 in Kevin's opinion. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Norm is giving Jones a 5. Nolante gave him a 4. Ooh, we are not looking good. 5 for Jones. Really?
Yeah. He did okay in bits and bobs, bro. That's the thing with everyone. Even Gravenberch, bits and bobs looked okay, but on the bigger picture, not doing enough to win the game.
So today, Curtis Jones was 53 out of 56 with his passing, 95% for his passing. He had 2 key passes.
Mm-hmm.
43. You might say, "Oh well, all of them are in his half of the pitch or in our half of the pitch." No, 43 out of 45 of those passes came in the opposition half. Only 11 of those 10 out of 11 were in our half of the pitch. He only had 1 shot on goal. It was on target. He had 63 touches. 1 successful, was fouled once, lost the ball 5 times, had 2 defensive contributions and 3 recoveries. Was 2 out of 3 for his ground duels, 1 out of 3 for his aerial duels. You sure you want to stick with that score?
Give him a 6.
Okay. No, I was trying to help you out, Curtis. Trying to help you out, Cujo. A 6. All right. The chat was even more merciless. Like I said, 5 from Norm, 4 from for Curtis from Nolante. Ouch. Let's see. Who else? You gave the backline 7 for a clean sheet when they did nothing, but everyone in front of them gets less. Hey,
Yeah.
I'm not saying, hey.
No, that's it. I just feel
Point
because
fingers at the right people. I didn't say it. I tried to defend Curtis Jones.
nah,
I just tried to defend him.
because the defense is the back line, and the midfield for me should be there to produce goals, create goals, and they didn't do enough of that. Hence the marks. You know what I mean? Defense's job is to keep a clean sheet. You know what I mean?
Oh man. All right. All right. Hyundai, I think you make good cars. If you ever want to sponsor the channel, feel free. Okay, by the way. I think you make good cars. And hey, if Mercedes or Maybach, actually more specifically, want to sponsor the show, please do. You can give myself, Lee, JK, and any in the audience that want one a Maybach. I think we will be certainly accepting and appreciative. Asian Pops, who the cap fits, let them wear it. Who the cap fits, let them wear it. There you go. I'll give you a little singing sensation. From slot to first 10, you can't defend them. Song still waiting. A Fabinho replacement. That's a good shout too. All right, Curtis Jones gets a 6. No love. Dominic Sabassalai. Dominic Sabassalai restored to his theoretically favorite attacking midfield role of a 10 in this game, but Sabassalai's insistence on roaming all over the pitch actually forced one of his least effective displays of the season, is the note that I put down for myself. You know how big of a Dominic Sabassalai fan I am, and I thought that he had a little bit of a lackluster game. He was forced to play right back once again by this coach. I don't understand why we take one of our more, versatile, if not threatening offensive players and stick him in the right back spot. Lee, I'll let you give a rating for Dom since JK went last with Curtis Jones. What's Dom's rating for you?
7.
A 7. Okay. Norm says 5. Sabassalai stopped the risky, silly flick passes in our own half. Sabo got a 5 from Nolante. Songs 4K says Dom was not effective in any way. Why didn't Dom take the free kick? Your guess is as good as mine. I don't think that's not a decision made by our captain. So I don't know. That was just maybe an internal decision by the players on the pitch that Dom didn't take it. Pop says the attack was poor in his opinion. The attackers need to feel the heat, including Dom, but it doesn't help when the coach puts him at right back. Shaking his head, he gives him a 5.5. Spot on in my opinion. We all know Kevin's given 0.5s to everyone, so that's his score. Sabassalai noticeably a little off tempo and possession out of it too. He was dribbled past more than any other player on the night 4 times, so this was certainly an outlier. He's going to refuse to give him a rating. Okay, all right. You don't have to if you don't want to. All right, next player on our list. Who's next on our list? Hold on, let me see who's next on my list. That would be Jeremy Frimpong. I guess I'll rate Jeremy Frimpong. I think Jeremy Frimpong has a possible role as a not only versatile player for us, but like in that he can play right back / right wing back, if you want to call it that. But I think his pace is something that we definitely need on this day, and on most days we need pace that he can definitely um, bring to the team. I don't think Frimpong had a bad day today. Um, I think he could have gone another level. I'm not saying he couldn't have, and I think that even he admitted that the team and himself could have been better on the day. But he did create chances that were unfinished chances, by the way. I'm going to give Frimpong a 7. I think the chat is agreeing with me. Hylor says Frimpong gets his only 7 today. Norm is saying 7. Fast, beat his man, did well first half. Frimpong has a place in Arbor Day. He is a green bean. Okay. Frimpong looks better. That's by Kevin. Said that. Songs 4K says Frimpong looks better as a winger than fullback. He bounces off attackers. Pop says our brightest player on the day, but not used effectively enough and subbed again too soon. He had more to offer. I agree with that completely.
Too cautious,
7.5. Yeah, too
yeah, I
cautious.
agree because I think he's trying to be cautious. He's just coming back from injury, and he does
Yeah,
that. Arnie, he don't risk playing a guy full 90. There you go. After just coming back from injury and that. Yeah, that's the way Arnie does it, isn't it? For me, Frimpong was our only threat. Let's be serious now. Most of the time he was on the pitch, he was the biggest threat for us. But it's great to see him getting his groove now. He's getting into it now. You know what I mean? So that's one plus out of the last few games. That Frimpong sort of found his feet and he knows what he's doing. Yeah.
Nor singing the Frimpong song. We were super cautious, says Kevin. But how long can Frimpong keep fit before he is injured again? Hi, Lord, don't put that out into the universe, my brother.
That would be cool. I think what happens when you're that type of electric player, your legs are designed to, because when he was at Leverkusen, he knew he's starting every game and he's going to play the majority of every game. So mentally, his hamstrings are locked in. When he don't know if he's coming or going, a new club in Liverpool, bang, the hamstring's going to go.
Yeah, the muscle memory.
That's how I see it.
I agree. Yeah, the muscle memory. Last but not least was Eke Tike, at least for the starting squad. He made possibly the best attack of the game for us, or best opportunity we had for scoring was done by Eke Tike, I think. I think, you know what, I will say this. This is why when people do attack, and you can tell me your opinion on this, sometimes people attack our players for, oh, that was a soft penalty, or he went down way too easily, or things such as that, right? I will say this. Eke Tike should have gone down in the box for that penalty. I don't know if I need a pause in that or not, but he had an operatunity to get a penalty, and he rather than bring attention to the play, he mustered on and he didn't get the penalty, obviously. And in a game like that today, that could have been our savior of 3 points, or 2 points actually. But Hugo Ekitike, I'll let all of us give a quick rating for Hugo. What was Hugo's rating for you, JK?
I'll give him a 5. He just looks a bit tired, bro. Starts the game off well, like always, but slowly fades, you know?
I think Lee is not with us at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I heard you coughing in the background. What is your rating for Ekitike? Do you think Ekitike would have gotten the penalty if he'd gone down?
Maybe.
Maybe.
You'll never know now.
Okay.
I'll give him a 6.
Okay. Some people think so. Some people don't. All right. The commentators were saying that he would. They thought that he would have gotten the penalty if he had gone down, or that he got fouled, but um, rather than stop, he continued to try to push on. Psalms 4K says he doubts PGMOL would have given it. He doesn't blame him in the long run. He doesn't need refs to think he's a diver. I agree. I'm not trying to say he needs to be a diver, but I'm just definitely saying that we've seen players go down for less. You see how Hugo did that back pass? He was too casual, says SAS VVD, and last minutes wise, so casual. How many shots has VVD taken that was a snuff shot or snurf shot? Pup says he wouldn't have been given a pen in his opinion. We already know how useless these officials are. He missed a sitter and was offside too much today. Also need to stay more centrally as we didn't have a target.
Spot on, bro. Couldn't put it any better for me. Spot on. Even if he fell down, they wouldn't have gave him a penalty.
I think over here it was Stephen. I don't know who was on the play-by-play. I could get an answer for you if you give me a second. But the other presentator today was Stephen Warnock was the other guy, was the color commentator for, at least for this side of the pond. We had Stephen Warnock.
Stephen Warnock is the guy who think he could have played football and ends up getting a top job presenting football. And I can't even take the guy serious, bro. What a joker, man. He ain't no. I don't like when people say he's an ex-Liverpool player. No, he's not. Not for me. Because the way he talks about Liverpool, you think he's an Evertonian. Not our former defender.
Guys,
okay. I'll double check that for you though.
It's true. They never say, "Oh, the referee's got it wrong" or whatever. You know, they just keep it sweet.
Let's see. They are not telling us who it was. I'm positive it was Stephen Warnock for us for color comment. He was the one that said the comment. At least Pops. If you want a quick answer, I was trying to Google it to see if I could find out who were the commentators for us today. Because it wasn't yeah, I don't see the names of who it was, but don't sweat it. I was just curious. As JK said, they don't go after the officials, just has some mess to say about the players. Stephen Warnock's an interesting, just like JK said, Stephen Warnock is very interesting.
In other words, full of shit.
Like he's one that makes you, it makes you scratch your head. Sometimes you can say what you want about Jamie Carragher's comments, but Stephen Warnock's comments are sometimes a little bit
rude,
a little bit questionable. Yeah, questionable.
Look, bro, I've always said this: any guy who ain't great at football wants to get a career in football management is going to be hard. Why? You weren't a great player, but but if you want to do media work, okay, what you do the anti-Liverpool comments early on, and then when you get your feet warm, getting into the new job, drop a few of them. You got a contract for the next 3, 4, 5 seasons. you're sorted. Why? Because you're always ready to criticize Liverpool.
Yeah,
That's
no,
weird.
I get
That's
that.
weird.
It is weird. I think that like he knows he's going to get called on. He's going to get called on more so. It's kind of like when you see Steve Nickel on ESPN FC. He tends to be the pundit that they bring on when they're talking about Liverpool games. And I think maybe Nickel tries to be. He's certainly a fan of Liverpool. Don't get it twisted. I don't question his love and his love towards Liverpool and his his patronage towards the club. However, some of his takes can be very, very, very questionable when it comes to his biases.
It's all about the nickel and dime, bro. The Bekovic, my opinion.
Yeah,
because if you want to keep a job in the media, you got to come out with controversial bullshit. Because people love that. Oh, did you hear what he said?
Yeah,
and that's how it works. I don't mind Jamie Redknapp. I think he's one guy. He never talks bad about Liverpool. You know what I mean? It's like he never talks bad about Liverpool.
And if he does, he has. I will say, I only want to check this. He has once, and when I say that, it's because I know he at Redknapp and VVD were on a interview, and this was during the time when VVD was getting criticized by a lot of different players or a lot of different former players, and Redknapp was one of the players that suggested that VVD's legs had gone, and VVD kind of called him out on air.
Oh, okay.
For saying that. The same, very similar awkwardness that you got when he called out Rooney on air. Our captain is NFG, as the kids say. You know, when it comes to calling it as it stands.
True, Kevin. The presenters are openly Gooners. Big time.
Oh,
big time.
The Gooners.
It was Man United back in the days. It's Arsenal.
Oh, yeah. It is amazing.
The content creators are Man United content creators.
Oh, gosh.
They're the worst undercover Arsenal fans. Man United content creators.
I know. They are some undercover Arsenal lovers.
Yeah.
Certainly are. They certainly are.
You know why?
All right.
Because they're the only team that's going against Man City, their rivals, and Liverpool.
Yeah.
Man United ain't doing nothing. So they got to score Arsenal.
You know what's scary? What's wild about that is that, especially for Manchester, I think Arsenal are more rivals to Manchester United than Arsenal are rivals to Liverpool.
Yeah.
I'd say that. Would you say differently?
In what way? What you think they're more like because of the Wenger Fergie years?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, during that era, we weren't necessarily contending for the way we were contending against the way like as a Manchester City are, I think, closer to rivals to us than Arsenal, for instance. And that's coming from an era where surely, yes, Arsenal were a better team or longer described as being in that big six moniker, of the word. So, Manchester City have definitely taken on being a part of the big six, but they weren't for, decades before that.
Yeah.
But they became a bitter rival for us in that they were the team that was always, trying to contend with that title runs for us. Arsenal were never never really that team for us. We weren't necessarily worried about Arsenal.
I just feel that Arsenal, remember Mitchell Thomas scored, that built a bit of a rivalry, and that the Champions League games we had a few against them. There's always been a level of respect there between the two clubs. But there is a little bit of a rivalry, just a little bit. You know what I mean?
Arsenal and Liverpool rivalry is more about Mickey T than anything else, in his opinion.
Mickey T.
Mickey T.
What, from the Bronx?
Yeah. He's from Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Something like that. There you go.
Mickey
From
T.
the Boogie Down.
Paulie's brother, Mickey T.
Mickey T. Hey, Mickey T.
Hey, Mickey T. Make me a tea.
Oh, he's talking about 1989. Got you.
Oh,
Bringing back
Michael Thomas. Mickey T.
Got you.
Yeah.
Got you. Fulham and Arsenal away in our next matches. Yeah, that's true.
In London. Seeing the old Liverpool teams, you're like, yeah, we'll get 3 points there. We'll get a point at Arsenal. Like, we'll know before the game even started what's going to happen. Now we're in a situation, I don't know what the fuck's going to go
on. Beating us at Anfield to the title. Oh, okay. Back in 1989. Yeah.
Then he ends up signing for Liverpool after. It was a mad one.
Excuse me. Had a sneeze there. Quickly, Kirk has for you. Want to give him a rating? 66 minutes. He played long enough to get a rating. Kirk has rating. JK, go.
I'll just give him a 5, bro.
5 for Kirk has. McAllister. Oh no, I'll give you Cody Gakpo. Cody Gakpo, Lee. Cody Gakpo.
4.
4. All right. I'm gonna give McAllister a. I'm gonna give McAllister
a cup of tea.
I'll give McAllister a 6.5. 6.5.
I think all the subs aren't great at all.
No.
Chiesa.
Yeah, give a rating for. He came on in the 79th minute. It is a little harsh to rate him on just 11 minutes, really. But I think because I'm not going to rate Rio.
Look, Chiesa's having a bit of game time. And the thing is, when he was buzzing and doing stuff, Arnie didn't play him. And now all of a sudden Arnie sort of needs him. Chiesa can't get involved in the game as much like he did before, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get where is this where you're going with your statement? And at least this will be my assessment. I know people are critical of there are people out there saying, oh, you see, for all the people that said you need to play Chiesa, and now we're seeing Chiesa isn't exactly, tearing up trees, as they say. And I can understand that assessment of Chiesa. He hasn't been electric to the level we want. But that's rhythm.
Yeah.
If you're not getting consistent games and you're not getting in the rhythm of playing and getting the rhythm of what is expected from you, and you're just kind of being thrown into the lion's den and saying, have at it for 10 minutes, you can't find that rhythm. You're pressing too much, or you're pushing too much, or you're not getting really that balance underneath you that you can firmly push off of and make some real contributions, in my opinion. Maybe you have a different opinion. In the comments, tell us. In the chat, tell us. In our panel, don't be quiet. Say what you need to say if you think different.
For me, he should have started again today. Instead of maybe Szoboszlai. I would have kept Szoboszlai on the bench. Let him rest a little bit more, you know what I mean? Because Szoboszlai wasn't great today, to tell the truth. So me, I would have kept Szoboszlai on the bench and played Chiesa again. Yeah.
None of the subs really made
version.
an impact, did they? To be honest, none of them really changed the flow of the game.
I wouldn't have mind. That is a front that I actually suggested, but if to be honest, I would have had if we wanted to be if we wanted to be imaginative, I would have went with Hugo and Chiesa in a front two, allowing Chiesa to kind of be that shadow striker, playing a little bit of a false nine role. But if we weren't going to do that, then at least I would have had Rio on the left. I would have had Frimpong on the right, and I would have had Verts and Chiesa as 2 10s. I would have had basically I wouldn't have had a pivot in my setup today. I don't think that we had to worry about having extra men in the midfield, or even if having extra men to play defensively to help out our back line. Leeds showed nothing really when it was going forward. We needed to put players into the opposition half that were going to be able to create channels, create runs, make space. This is just all my perspective or opinions. Create channels, make the runs to create the space. Also, to even have a player like a Rio or even a Frimpong that have pace, allow for them to attack that box, the opposition box, and to goad the defense into the only way you're going to stop us is by fouling us, because we're gonna keep coming at you and give you sustained runs. Rio did help sustain attacks and create shots. I think he did. I think he came in and showed some difference, showed a bit of like adjustment to the concept that we're doing. I think Rio and Frimpong should have, could have, would have, wasn't. I thought Rio could have gotten a start today. You're playing Leeds. You're playing Leeds at home. Look, if Rio, I don't think we're going to say that Rio should be only an option off the bench with a couple of minutes left to spare. And that's the only time you see Rio. We didn't even get to see Rio in a game where we were up 4-1 or whatever it was, 4-1 or when we were playing Frankfurt, for instance. We chose to play Mohamed Salah for some reason in a 4-1 game rather than play Rio in a 4-1 game. I think it was 4-1 or something like that against Frankfurt. You get what I'm saying? It's a weird management rotation and weird management weird player management. Excuse me. Weird player management. Take for it. All right, we've rated all the players. What is the last we'll do is the last that everyone probably will be rating on a curve, and that is Mr. Arnie Slot. What do you give our coach, Lee?
1.5.
1.5.
Out of 10, yeah.
On the half.
Yeah. The fact that he got a half point, that's funny.
He's got 8.5, to make up on that, to get a flawless performance. So he's got a long way to go from 1.5 to 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
JK, you are up.
The guy needs to drink some coffee, drink some Red Bull, and get some adrenaline going into the players' veins that they would batter teams. I can't see this manager do it, bro. And today's display. Look, he started off well. The team started off well first half. We were sound first 15, 20 minutes. Why did it peter out? So I blame that on the manager, as well as the players, don't get me wrong. So I'm going to give him a 3. Spot on, songs 4K. That's what I said.
Okay. Seeing the payment on gave.
You know what? You'd understand it if the players weren't there to accommodate fast football. You know, it's like a newly promoted team, new players, and you say, you know what, let's play the first, second gear football because we're new to this and we ain't got any top players. So together as a team unit, let's play the first, second gear football and we'll survive. We're Liverpool Football Club. We've got £100 million players in the team, bro. You know, and you can't get put it into third, fourth, fifth gear. Like, Frimpong was the only guy who put his foot down.
See if I can show you this image. This is kind of telling of our night. Basically, I wanted to share this image. This was a telling moment for our night. This basically was what our in a word. This is what I think our night was in a nutshell. That's Cody taking a shot, and from this angle, you can see he's got 3 players in front of him. How you expect to score in a scenario like this?
Yeah, that was their plan, bro. Get everyone behind the ball, job done. So, hence why they always say, how do you break a low block and all this, that, and the other. Like, come on, man, you're in the training ground all the time. Like, practice. For me, what you do, you pretend to shoot. Because why? What's going to happen? 2 or 3 guys are going to go sliding tackles in that direction. What you do, you don't shoot, you stop the ball, let them go flying and shoot then. Where's the common sense? Where's the wisdom in these players to do that? Or instead of pretending you're going to shoot and everyone's getting ready to do a big flying tackle, instead of shooting, just do a little 3-ball to someone else. That's how you break a team down who plays like that, like they had today. And the only reason we're giving Frimpong a bit of credit is, Kevin, is because he's the only one who showed a bit of desire to make something happen. He got into the box, and I always say this: when you cross a ball into a box, more likely you're going to score. Hence why he was doing that. So hence why I gave him, and it's good for him to come back from injury to see him slowly getting into it now.
That shot from Gakpo could have went in. It could have went between the arms that are on display and right into the top corner on another day.
Yeah, it could have. Very well could have.
Yeah, but Gakpo ain't got that common sense in him to get the ball from the left like he does, beat his guy, run inside, and then what he does, he looks for an opening to hit a top corner. Why can't he just get the ball, run inside, and play a nice little 3-ball? Or a little 1-2. You know, just something different.
Some of them miss by miles. Some of them that he does, don't he? Some of them have gone in the net, maybe closer in. But those ones from outside the box don't tend to go in the net.
Sorry. That's a great comment, Songs 4K. They do look like Charlie. They're sparking the Charlie Angels pose. Right
Beyonce.
Oh, man. That is good. That was a good one.
But you know what I mean, though, bro? If you put your foot on the ball there, you got all them players flying every direction, little flick over the top.
Yeah.
Just simple things like that.
I'll tell you this much, JK. Obviously, the Who's number 15 on their team?
Ampadu?
Yes, I think it is. What I was going to say is, they don't show. Let me double check and make sure he was on the bench. Yeah. I don't know who he's marking. However, if there are 3 men in front of you, that means that someone is most likely open. Someone should be in space, or someone should be able to make a run into space that has been left out by these 3 players.
Simple.
You don't have to be a mathematician to recognize that there are 10 outfielders, right? If you're one of them on your side and there's 3 of them in front of you, there is some disadvantage somewhere on the pitch that you can take advantage of. Now, whether you can get there by a quick pass or an outlet pass, that's one thing. Whether it means you have to, I don't want to say recycle the ball, because that tends to just lead back to allowing the team to get their space and get their and recovery set up. But if it means having the awareness to know that 1, 2, maybe 3 passes, quick passes, can be a way to get the ball to a place that is going to be dangerous, that's, in my eyes, what we are missing on this team. And that's troubling. Where do we go from here? That's the question. Because I think today the winners of if you want to say winners and losers, today's winners, I think, was Leeds United. I think Leeds United
cheering at the end, yeah.
They're cheering. They have a well-earned point. They're 6 unbeaten. They're breathing. They got breathing room from the relegation zone.
Come on, West Ham. You got to catch them. Daniel Farker, bro. Jurgen's old friend.
Yeah, I got you. I don't know. I truly, I'm telling you, join me in this effort to say, let's go out and pick up Bowen as I know I don't want to say your stopgap, but as a transitional player for us. Maybe someone that we can bring in that we can utilize in a striker role, because he can play striker. We know that. We've seen him play for West Ham, play striker. He can be played as obviously a player on the wing. He is someone that you don't have to commit your future to.
But
we're not going to get a player like go ahead. What are you saying?
I just feel with the way West Ham are, third from bottom, no chance in hell getting him, because he loves the club. You can see it in the way he celebrates. Even Paqueta, they both love the club. They always touch the badge and say, "I'm staying here," sort of thing. You know what I mean? But I understand your mindset about Bowen. Got experience, Premier League proven, and he would do a decent job on the right for us in this team. You know what I mean? But I just feel wrong timing.
You know why I'm saying Bowen too is because you just mentioned some of his attributes. There's positive personal attributes, characteristics behind him. Obviously, we know he's a captain. We know that he's a professional. We know that he puts in a work ethic, a very high work ethic. And I'm not saying that the Hammers are going to, look to unload Bowen, but who knows? If it was a case where West Ham, in a couple of games from now, are in a place that Forest and Leeds have put an even larger gap between them, okay? because certainly right now there's an 8-point gap between Forest and West Ham, or excuse me, Leeds and West Ham, and a 4-point gap between Forest and West Ham currently. If that lead were to get to 7 or 10 or something like that, where there's no real pathway towards getting out of the relegation zone for West Ham. Maybe they get surpassed by a Burnley, for instance, and become 18th instead, or 19th instead of 18th. All I'm trying to get across is we all want to see an offensive player be brought to this team. We all want to see a player that's going to be a player that is a turnkey style player, in that there's no real, we got to let him adjust to the Premier League, or we got to let him, get adapted to our system. I just think that Bowen is such a, lunch pail style, hard hat wearing player that he could be a turnkey player for us. He's at an age where, one, is he going to want to play his better years in the championship? Because that's what he's coming down to. He's 28 years old or something around there. So is he going to want to go and, bring in his 29th, maybe even 30th birthday in the championship, hoping West Ham can get back into Premier League?
True.
Is he going to not want to, at some point in his career, be able to see Champions League style play? He's played in Europe once, I'll give him that, but I'm just being honest. Is he going to want to play on a team that's got Champions League currently, and he could help possibly be a part of that, be part of it? I like Bruce Bowen as a player. I think he's the type of characteristical player that we need on this team currently, considering a lot of what I think is lacking from our team is confidence and work ethic. That's just my opinion.
Not a bad shout, bro, but I just feel the circumstances ain't gonna let that happen.
It's not gonna. Chances are it's not gonna happen.
Yeah, but he'd be a top little signing. He would.
Mm-hmm. Did I say Bruce Bowen? I didn't say Bruce Bowen, did I? If I said Bruce Bowen, I apologize. Did I say Bruce Bowen?
Did you? I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think I said Bruce Bowen. If I said Bruce Bowen, I definitely didn't mean Bruce Bowen. Definitely did not mean Bruce Bowen. Yeah. If I said Bruce Bowen, that was a mistake. I'm thinking Bruce Bowen is a basketball player. He used to play for the 76ers, also played for won a couple of titles with the San Antonio Spurs. But yeah, I'm thinking of Gerard Bowen, by the way. Or Jared Bowen, excuse me, not Gerard. Jared Bowen.
Jared.
The
biggest Bowen in Britain is probably Jim Bowen, who used to present Bullseye.
And Jared is spelled
TV quiz show.
Okay, Jared is spelled with 2 R's, not 1. But I know who you're talking about. It was a Freudian slip. It was a Freudian slip. Definitely, Pops. It was. Thinking of champions, maybe. That's why I'm thinking of Bruce Bowen. He's a champion. I'd like to see Jared Bowen be a champion too. How about that? Maybe he could do it with us. But where are we? I'd say losers in this game. Obviously, Liverpool are losers by dropping 2 points. I'd even go as far as saying Robbo, maybe even Flo, didn't take their opportunities the way they should have. This was a chance to build momentum. But it's tough. It's really tough. It's a reminder that we're still work in progress more than the finished product. That's the crappy part about all this. the fans were also losers for having to watch that mess. They lost immense. Trust me on that. We lost a lot. I lost hours of sleep that could have been utilized in this game by watching this game. Absolutely. Absolutely. All right. Well, I'll ask these quick questions before we close out. We're already at 3 hours. Dang on. This episode went so quickly. A lot of good people in the chat, by the way. We had at least 30, 40 people in the chat at all times. Big up to you for what you're listening to us on X, or if you're listening to us or watching and listening to us on YouTube. Shout out to all of you. I don't know what's the split of people, whether who's watching on X and who's watching on YouTube. I only see the collective number, but I appreciate that. Big shout out to our brethren Fozzie, who apparently was at Anfield for this game. Wow, I feel for you. I'm sure. Big up. I think Norm probably was at the game too, and our condolences go out to you having to watch that game in person.
Oh, we've all been to bad games, haven't we? We've all attended on a bad result, like on a bad day.
Which one? Okay, I asked this too, since Pop said bringing in a player like Bowen isn't going to make a difference, or isn't possibly the player that can make the difference, or maybe this isn't his player of choice, considering he doesn't think that it's a possibility. Okay, that's said and done. Whose birthday is it, by the way? Oh, I heard someone say on your birthday. I don't know whose birthday it is. Tell us whose birthday it is. I'll definitely give him a shout. But I'm going to ask the panel this question before we close out. Do Liverpool need January signings as the way to solidify our team? Maybe save it, or I think solidify is a better word for it. Or simply, is it about bringing the pieces that are here in more cohesion and just focusing on that?
Well, I think Pop's not the nail on the head with this coach, bro. You can bring Maradona back and Messi, but you're still gonna have Kanate and Virgil passing the ball at the back for more than 75% of the game. I can't say anything else about it, bro. We can bring in new players, don't get me wrong, and that will give us backing like a centre back. That will give us a bit of security. But come on, man, how long can we go with this sort of football? It hurts, man.
It hurts.
I don't understand the word substitution. I just feel like if one guy's going to open something, because in the last 2 games he's got an assist, got a goal, he'll do something. Keep him on there. Because when he came off, Ekitike lost his way. Ekitike was popping up everywhere, and that sometimes I missed Ekitike just staying as the 9. No need to drop. We got enough Cooks there. We got Gapco there. We got Rio there. We had a lot of people there. There was no need for Ekitike to drop anywhere. Stay in the box. 20 minutes left, and we'll give you the ball. So, new signings ain't gonna cut it for me, bro. Because can this manager play in 3rd, 4th, 5th gear football? And the answer to that is no. I don't think he can.
No, I don't think he's ever had that in his locker. Subbing Verts and Frimpong is crazy. Yep, they subbing off 2 of our best, most productive, definitely informed, 2 of our most informed players off in a game where we're searching for a goal. Taking off 2 players that have the pace, if not the ball dribbling talent, to bring problems to an offense or to a defense, not opposition's defense. Subbing them off makes you go, oh, what's this guy
Yeah, as
doing?
soon as Wirtz came off, bro, I sort of lost interest.
Yeah.
It just and you're seeing it in the display. What did we do at the end? Nothing. So when he came off, we came off.
Yeah.
And subbing him and Frimpong. Yeah, I understand Frimpong just coming back from injury. You don't want to overplay him. I understand that. But what did Curtis and Szoboszlai and Gravenberch really do? Gravenberch was okay controlling the ball and that. But Jones, Szoboszlai, what do they do attacking wise to get us a goal? Szoboszlai took a
Yeah.
shot. And that's about it.
Yeah. Oh, man. Lee, do you want to give an answer to that question? Or I know I'm going to have to repeat it for you, but do you want to give an answer to that question?
What was it?
Exactly.
What do you want for Christmas next year?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
What did your elf on the shelf see that made this New Year's not a good one for you already? No, I'm just kidding. The question was, I'm trying to think of how to even properly. Do Liverpool need January signings or simply better cohesion? That's how I'll say it.
We need January signings.
Yeah, okay, you're on that. Oh,
We're desperate for them, aren't we, at this point?
Okay.
We need more cohesion as well, but like we'll start that cohesion off with some January signings to throw into the mix to see if the mix is a bit better. Because what we've got at the moment isn't enough.
I'm asking that. I'm asking that. Go ahead. Finish your statement. I apologize.
We're letting average sides like Leeds take 4 points away from us. They're a promoted side. We never used to have much problem beating the promoted sides under Jurgen. In fact, I don't think we had any problem. You know what I mean? But now it's become a problem, hasn't it? Like anyone can beat us or draw with us, even at Anfield at the moment. Yeah, shit, they're right down there at the bottom of the league, aren't they? Like Leeds. So Forest, who done us 3-0 at Anfield. They were just really shit home performances, weren't they?
Yeah. Just about beat Wolves. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Let me do an assessment here. So I said how we've only scored over 3 goals in 5 games, right? And the majority of those goals that we scored, those more than 2 goals, excuse me. The majority of those games came in the early parts of the season because we had a 4-2 win in our first home game against Bournemouth. We had a 3-2 victory against Newcastle. And we had a 3-2 victory against Atletico Madrid. And then you throw in the 4-1 victory against Frankfurt. Those are the 4 times before that we had. And our 5th time of scoring 2 goals or more was against this Leeds team at Leeds, where we drew 3-3. But in this year, we have seen teams score more than 2 goals against us 5 times as well. And what's troubling about that is that it's been as of late that they've scored the goal. The goals have started to prop up against us. Before this, we didn't have. There was before this. Before I think, what was the last time? Like during our run of scoring more than 2 goals, it was often it was us scoring, but not having the opposition score more than 2 goals against us. Thus, we got wins, we got tough, tight wins, and the likes. And we scored 5 goals against Frankfurt, not 4. But after that game, we saw Brentford score 3 goals against us, which a game we lost. We were absolutely embarrassed in the League Cup, having Crystal Palace score 3 goals against us in that
You know what I
game.
mean, bro? Wow.
In the Manchester City game, we went to the Etihad, a tough place to play. However, got embarrassed having been scored on 3 goals to 0. And then you might say, okay, well, that's Etihad. Okay, cool. We can bounce back. The very next game, we play in Anfield and we lose 3-0 to a Forest side. And then to back that up, we go to the Champions League at home against PSV, a team that Arne Slot is very familiar with, and lose 4-1.
Mm-hmm.
The whole season's in danger of becoming a write-off.
I don't think
know what
that
he can do to fix things, like, but
no, that's the point of what I
that's the point
of what I wanted to get at before we go to this conclusion. I don't think it's bringing in. I don't think our fix is there's some miracle player out there that's going to bring us, some serenity or some type of solution that we've been missing. Obviously, I said Bruce Bowen. I did say Bruce Bowen. Jared Bowen. Almost at the slip happen again. Jared Bowen, right? I said Jared Bowen earlier as maybe a remedy, but that's just me trying to fill up depth on this team as we search for some answer to us not having Isak in our front line. But I think it's cohesion with this team. I think it's about this team learning to play. This is the team that we have. To hear us say that we need more players on a team that just spent $500 million on players is absurd. That is absurd. Nearly 500 million, some number right around 500 million is what we spent in money for these players that we have currently. We were all raving about the selections, the players are bringing in, and the likes. This coach got everything he wanted, for the most part, on his shopping list. We've got to do better. Absolutely got to do better. Yeah, that is a championship thing, man. I'm thinking about defense. Bruce Bowen was a really good defender. Bruce Bowen played for the 76ers, he played for a Sixers team where I remember, especially since I'm a Sixers fan, that a lot of Sixers out there couldn't understand why Larry Brown kept playing Bruce Bowen and why he kept giving them chances. And that's because Bruce Bowen was pretty much a lockdown defender. Didn't bring that much offensively. Unfortunately, he didn't find that part of his game until he went to San Antonio. But he was a good defender, really, vaunted defender, and went on to San Antonio and won NBA championships with them, as a squad player. But hey, I can only hope that Gerard Bowen could do that for us if we were having the gusto to get him. Who knows? I just think cohesion is more important for us, though. I didn't want to say that. I wanted to give my answer. I think that this team has to find some way to gel, some way to have an identity for their own, some way to have an identity that props up the confidence, as opposed to what we see quite often, which is a team that if they get scored on, it looks like they couldn't be bothered, or that they are sapped of energy all of a sudden. But not a disaster, not a crisis just yet. I will say that we are still in 4th place, comfortably, I would say 3 points ahead of a Chelsea team that doesn't have a rudder in the water currently, but certainly a missed opportunity. In this league, missed opportunities have a habit of coming back to haunt you. I'm hoping that we can move past this. Let us know what you saw, what you felt, what you think comes next, by the way. We're at 3 hours and 20 minutes. Wow, I didn't think we were going to talk this long on this game. But Lee, did you want to say something to the people before we do what we need to do?
Well, at least we've got like a little bit of time before the Fulham game. It's not a fixture that's been that easy of late, Fulham away. But we have to see what we can do, won't we? So, cheers, everyone. Yeah.
I agree, Pops. We should be looking at the way that Villa lost against. We should be looking at the way Villa lost against Arsenal and take advantage of that. Figure out what it is that Arsenal are going to try and incorporate against us, and be prepared. Be very prepared for a matchup against them. I do, by the way, think that we will beat Arsenal at the Emirates. Sounds weird, but it has nothing to do with form. More so, it's just the way our season's going. We'll end up playing well against a big team or a team that we possibly should at best draw against, considering where our form is currently. And I think that we might do something very similar to what we did at Inter. Put it that way. No, not many people had us going to Italy and winning that game against Inter. Inter were exceptional at home this year. They were on some ridiculous winning streak at home. They had players that were well in the form. And we ended up going to Italy and scraping out a win. I know some might say, "Oh, that was a penalty. It was a gift." It was a penalty all the same.
It was a gift, but it was a gift that was given, and we took it.
Yeah.
The win over Madrid's probably the best win of the season. Real Madrid, that is. Although we did beat Atletico Madrid as well. But that was at home. Do you know what I mean? Going away to Arsenal will be a big test.
It will be. It will be. I am very skeptical when it comes to what we'll do against Fulham, to be honest with you, Pops. I'm skeptical what will happen against Fulham. I'm hoping that we're not looking at I hope that we're focused on North London, but we're not focused on the wrong portion of North London when we face off against Fulham. How about that? You like that little play on words, I guess? Because Fulham's North London, right? Is from
I think it's West London.
No,
like Chelsea.
There you go. West London.
I think
Northwest London. There you go. Let's see. I don't know. I don't know what we're gonna do against Fulham. It's gonna suck.
Marco Silva, isn't it? Like we come up against him a few times. See what happens, but we're gonna have to play a lot better than we did today to get anything there.
Oh, hands down. We're gonna have to play against Arsenal. We're gonna have to buckle up and really play a all out, aggressive and progressive game against them. I don't think, Arsenal's not going to shut down shop or, park the bus against us. They're going to want to score. They're going to want to go up against us and play openly. Fulham, on the other hand, I don't think Fulham's going to necessarily park the bus against us, but I do think that Fulham is going to play more of a defensive-minded game against us. But Silva does usually give us a fight. That he does. I'm trying to think of the player that I think of. Who's the player? Iwobi. Iwobi usually turns up against us for Fulham. I don't want to see him get an opportunity against us. We'll see. We'll have a preview of that. We'll have more to talk about. We're in the January window, so there's going to be a lot of transfer talk. We're going to see if it's going to be if Liverpool, if the FSG brass think it's about making more acquisitions, or if it's about bringing back certain players, making room on our roster to accommodate those players coming back, and figuring out what we're going to do going forward. Maybe we just we play the cards we're dealt and make it work that way. I don't know. JK, did you want to say something to the people before we bounce, though?
Yeah, just I hope everyone had a happy new year and stuff. Not the best result to get Max that new year, but few games now away from home. Got to win them, bro. That's what I'm saying about Arnie Slot. He's not losing games.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably saving his job.
Yeah.
So we see what happens on Sunday. But yeah, I can't say which way he's going to go.
Yeah.
But have a good night, everyone. Thanks for the chat, Lee and 12 as well.
Yeah. Happy New Year to everyone out there. Norm, Kevin, Songs 4K, Pops. Let's see. There are a bunch of people in the chat tonight. Let's see. Make sure I'll try to name off as many as I can. Lee Wiskett, of course. Yeah. I don't think
Rothol's Ghost. Rothol's Ghost is in the chat as well.
Okay. Ghost of Christmas Past. Yeah, Songs 4K. Let's say Kevin. The Lone Sheep was in the chat. We have some new names offer some insights as well. Let me see. Hylor obviously is the OG. He was getting involved in the conversation. I think it was Nilante, of course, co-host of the show. I want to make sure I say who it was because they were new to the show, and at least there were new names that I had noticed in the show that I was appreciative to see. Give me a second, I'll find them. I think it was Gary, I want to say. Let me double check here. Okay, there's a lot of interaction. Chris Angel, shout out to Chris Angel. We got to give a shout out to the incoming staff, by the way. Our incoming medical staff, which will be led by Chris Angel, of course. We're giving out. Earlier in the show, we were giving out some replacements to the staff. Oliver James, shout out to Oliver James, by the way. Shout out to David Morris, who gave a comment here or there. Zia, who pointed out about how we can't win against the bottom sides. Can we? So slow in build-up, it's awful. Hashin Forsey, by the way, is the guy. Big up to you. Alexander, big up to you as well. Trudon was in here. Red Goals was here too. I am going to find Abdul. I haven't seen Abdul in a long time, but shout out to Abdul, by the way. Big up to him. There was another player. Barry was here. Big up to you. And Kane was here. That was a new name in the chat. Obviously, shout out to the streets. Rasta Crab. Mark Simons was here. And oh man, I know there was another. I thought for some reason I want to say it was Gary. Graham. I knew it was a G name. Graham and Eric. Shout out to both of you as well. I think that's everyone. I think I give a shout out to everyone. All right. It's the new year. I wanted to make sure I said that properly. I wanted to make sure that I got everyone's opinion and the likes involved in what we had to say. We appreciate all the love that you show by giving us a shout, a follow, a like, all the above. And we wish you a great new year. This has been the 12th Man Show. As always, my brothers and sisters, you'll never walk alone. and join us tomorrow. We'll do another show. I'm going to reach out to some of the other panelists that were hopefully going to join us today, but maybe they can join me, Lee, and possibly JK tomorrow on another brilliant stream. Shout out to the panel. Shout out to you in the chat for making this a beautiful, beautiful session, despite the unsavory result from our team today. And I wish you a great new year, and we'll see you on the flip side. Take care, and definitely God bless. And up the Reds.